deflected 28-7. You know, I doubt they had the resume anyway, but certainly no style points there on their way to the Rose Bowl to take on Penn State. We're going to have Arizona State and Arizona coming up in a matter of 7 seconds right now. We'll also keep you up to date on Oklahoma, Missouri in the Big 12 championship game. Your game's coming now.
Once a year, two schools separated by 100 miles fight for it. Its importance eclipses so much to so many. Regional enshrinement and enthronement. Straight-up bragging rights on the line as Arizona hosts Arizona State for the Territorial Cup right now.
Welcome to ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels. Tonight, under the lights at Arizona Stadium, it's the 82nd edition of Arizona State against Arizona, with plenty on the line. It's Jimmy V Week, of course, on ESPN, as we continue our commitment to the V Foundation for Cancer Research in tribute to Jim Valvano and his dream to defeat cancer. Hello, everybody. I'm Mark Jones, along with Bob Davie. Thanks for coming aboard. You know, you only need to understand one thing about the enmity and the malevolence in this series when you listen to Rudy Carpenter, the quarterback for Arizona State, who says, Bob, I like sending home Arizona every year, stopping them from going to a bowl game. There's a mutual feeling there with a lot on the line.
Well, Mark, a long time ago, back in 1978 and 79, I coached in 2 of these games, and most people around the country don't realize what a bitter rivalry this is. Bottom line, these two teams don't like each other at all. And this year, there's more at stake than just bragging rights. For Arizona State, it's simple. Win, go to a bowl game, lose, and go home. For Arizona, they're going to a bowl game, but I'm telling you, Mark, this game is more important than any bowl game because they've lost 3 straight times to the Sun Devils.
A big night on senior night for the Wildcats as well. One of the prevailing storylines, Bob, coming in, the two quarterbacks have had great careers for the respective schools, but one has had great success, the other one looking for his first win against Arizona State.
We have 2 quarterbacks in this game, both similar stories, but totally different styles. I mean, both of these guys, 4-year starters, but they both have their ups and downs. Rudy Carpenter, he started 43 straight games for Arizona State, likes to do a lot of talking on the field, plays with a reckless style. Willie Tuatama, he started 36 games for Arizona. He's kind of quiet, but Rudy Carpenter has the advantage, Mark. He's 3-0 against the Wildcats.
Carpenter with a lot of reasons to get his little swagger on tonight. Sun Devils looking to go to their 5th consecutive bowl game. Arizona standing in their way. Arizona State winning the toss, deferring to the second half. The Wildcats, led by Bob Stoots, will receive the opening kickoff. Bob, he's looking for his first winning season in 5 years, Mike Stoops says. Is this the biggest game of his career?
Mark, it very well could be. I think it was public knowledge coming into this season that Mike Stoops had to get to a bowl game. They are going to a bowl game, but I look at it as a great opportunity this season when you think about Arizona's schedule, ranked 112th in the country. They're coming off back-to-back losses here against Oregon and Oregon State. I think this is a must win. I don't know about for his job security, but I know for the psyche of this program, you do not want Arizona State to win 4 straight games.
The Wildcats with an opportunity to finish up 8-5 on the season, and of course at this time of the year there is a distinctive Stoops flavor in college football. You heard Bob and Mike's name already invoked, and here we are. This is Antolin on the kickoff return for Arizona. over the 15 out to the 17-yard line. That's where Willie Tuatama will take the reins to the Wildcat offense. He's one of the impact players with 19 touchdown passes on the season versus just 7 interceptions.
Yeah, big Rob Gronkowski. You know, they've gone to more of a running attack power game, which opens up the play action. One of the best tight ends in the country. And then Mike Thomas, dynamic, Mark, with his hands on the football. A lot of little wide receiver screens run after the catch.
Nick Grigsby lines up in the backfield behind quarterback Willie Tuatama. And now offset to his left. First down and 10 from the 17. Little movement up front by the Sun Devils. The pass incomplete. That was Grigsby coming out of the backfield. Offside against Luis Vazquez, number 49 for Arizona State.
You watch Willie Tuatama on tape. I noticed against Oregon State as well, a lot of hard counts at the line of scrimmage. Really barks that cadence out.
What does that do, Bob?
Makes that defensive end jump.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Jack Wood, our referee today, wearing the white cap. Going to be first down and 5 to go. Arizona trying to snap out of their 2-game losing streak. They lost to the Oregon schools in their last 2 games. Had a week off to stew and think about it a little bit. First down and 5 coming up for Arizona. And that's Rob Gronkowski with the first down for Arizona. Quick little screen, and the big fella can move a little bit, Bob.
I think maybe the best tight end in the country. You know, had 12 catches for 143 yards against Oregon. Maybe the best game I've ever seen a tight end play from a receiving standpoint.
Leads the team with 9 touchdown receptions on the season. His catch moves it out to the 38-yard line after the pickup of 16. First down and 10. More movement up front. David Smith, number 90, making a little bit of contact. It's Arizona State defense.
Offside. Defense unit.
Sun Devil defense hasn't made a lot of mistakes of late. And that's something that Dennis Erickson, their head coach, is happy about. They have scored a touchdown in the last 4 consecutive games. As we take a look at the lineups up front. Vazquez already making a negative impact. Dexter Davis, maybe the team's best pass rusher, number 58. Sets up a first down and 5. Tuatama losing the handle. And he falls on the loose ball right at the line of scrimmage. Second down and 10 to go now for Arizona.
Yeah, kind of a sloppy game right there. I mean, really looked like a good snap. I think Willie pulled out just a little bit early. But, you know, you see these early penalties in the game, Mark, and this is a huge advantage in this game for Arizona. I mean, Arizona, number 4th least penalized team in the country. ASU, number 111. So Arizona State, twice as many penalties as a game as Arizona.
On second down and 5. Tuatama under duress and run down at the 45-yard line, about 3 yards short of the first down by Rodney Cox, number 22. Tuatama picks up 3 on the play.
We talk about Willie Tuatama, not really a runner, you know, a big target in the pocket. He's been sacked 25 times, but, you know, moves a little better than most people think. I mean, he came out of there, looked a little bit like an athlete, didn't he?
Well, they say he's not the most mobile guy, but he did move pretty well there. This series hasn't been too good to him in the last couple of years. Going back to 2005, he was knocked out of the game with a rib injury. In 2006, he was knocked out of the game with a head injury. Up to the 48-yard line, a pickup of about 2 on the play as Tuatama finds Mike Thomas. Morris Wooten brings him down. And it's a first down for Arizona.
And Mike Thomas has had just an outstanding career here. Young guy out of DeSoto, Texas. We met with him yesterday. A lot of personality, huh?
He was telling us yesterday, I'm the guy that people like to line up against. So look out for that matchup between him and Omar Bolden, number 3, the defensive back for Arizona State. First down and 10 from near midfield at the 48-yard line. Little I formation here. And Grigsby stopped up at the line of scrimmage. Bob, Arizona this year as compared to last year running the ball a lot more. Why?
Boy, I mean, they've become a power team. I think part of it, that is their best personnel. You know, they have an excellent tight end. The younger brother, the tight end, Chris Gronkowski, has come on and been an excellent fullback. But you're right. I mean, Sonny Dykes came in here. Everyone anticipated the spread offense. He was under Texas Tech. You see Sonny there on the right of your screen. I mean, they are a power conventional team now.
2nd down and 9 for the Wildcats, and once again more movement up front by the Sun Devils. Tuitama overshoots his receiver, and it's picked off at the 30 by Troy Nolan. Nolan has already scored this year on an interception return, but the question begs, will this stand? And now he fumbles it. And Arizona recovers near the 40-yard line after the interception. Let's see how they sort this one out. Dexter Davis was the one that moved prematurely for Arizona State.
Mark, I told you I noticed this on tape. He had Oregon State. I'm talking about Willie Tuitama. He had them jumping in their defensive stances. He does a tremendous job with voice inflection, cadence at the line of scrimmage.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both fouls on the defense. Offside. Defense. That penalty will be accepted. During the run back, holding defense. That penalty will be declined. The 5-yard offside penalty will be enforced. Replay 1st down.
Well, let's go back and look at what I'm talking about. Watch Willie as he calls this cadence out. Kind of hard to see right there, but he does a very good job of just barking that cadence. And as disciplined as you tell those defensive linemen to do, to just watch the football, it is really hard, particularly with the atmosphere.
Correction, it'll be 2nd down.
Out here tonight.
That was Dexter Davis you saw on the sidelines now for Arizona State. He leads that defense with 10 sacks this season. He'll watch this play from the sidelines. 2nd down and 4 now for the Wildcats. Sun Devils already with 3 penalties on this drive. The play fake by Tuitama. He laid it in there, but it's incomplete at the 27-yard line. Rob Gronkowski that time couldn't squeeze it. It'll be 3rd down and 4 coming up.
Excellent coverage by Travis Gaethel, the linebacker. Really, Rob Gronkowski had a chance to catch that football. You know, 6'6", 250 pounds. Grew up in Buffalo, New York. Played his senior year in Pittsburgh. Now, do you realize tonight what a contrast between Buffalo, New York, Pittsburgh, and Tucson, Arizona?
I know one of those is really in the snow belt.
Both of those now.
3rd down and 4. Tuitama's pass is incomplete. At the 45-yard line, intended for Mike Thomas, broken up nicely by Mike Dixon.
And you really see what this Arizona offense is. In the passing game, as we take a look at Mike Stoops, a bunch of quick throws. They really emphasize run after the catch. Don't throw the football down the field very often. In fact, what did Mike Thomas tell us yesterday in front of Mike Stoops?
He said, "Coach, can you get me some more deep balls?"
Yeah, he was lobbying right in front of us about just getting some home runs down the field.
Yeah, shamelessly so. He has 20 people from different parts of the country in Texas and Louisiana that drove some 20 hours to make it to this game. Keenan Cryer into punt for Arizona, and he has an exceptionally strong leg. Going to try and place this one inside the 20, but it bounces into the end zone. It'll come back out. A 45-yard punt, nothing on the return, and Rudy Carpenter, who says, "I love ending Arizona's season every year," on offense when we come back. Sun Devil QB to go 4-0 against Arizona, and tonight with plenty on the line, a win tonight for the Sun Devils, and they would become bowl eligible with their 6th win of the season.
I tell you have to respect this guy. I mean, he's had a lot of ups and downs in his career. 26-16 as a starter. But one thing you know, Rudy Carpenter will fight you now every step of the way. 1st
down and 10 from the 20-yard line. Out of the shotgun, he fires high. Intended for Chris McGahey. Carpenter completing 63% of his passes on the season, 15 touchdown tosses this year versus 8 interceptions, and Keegan Herring getting just his second start at tailback.
Yeah, I think Keegan Herring is a big factor in this game tonight. He's had a hamstring all year, and Troy Nolan, maybe one of the best plays I've seen all year in college football. Last week at his safety position against UCLA, picked one off, took it back 104 yards, even though it only counted as 100 in the official stats.
Had an interception nullified a little bit earlier. This is Herring dragged down behind the line of scrimmage. A loss of about 1 on the play. Earl Mitchell, number 49 there for the Wildcats, making the stop. It'll be 3rd down and long for Arizona State as we look at the lineups. McGahey right there, number 13 at the top of your screen. The intended receiver on the first play has struggled with injuries too this year. This offense, Bob, has really been impotent for most of the year. An example last week, just 122 total yards of offense in the win against UCLA.
I'll tell you what, that's an understatement to say they're struggling right now. 9 punts last week, only 7 first downs against UCLA.
Carpenter to pass, nobody to throw it to. And it's incomplete. He took a hit after the play as well. And it's 4th down. Good pressure up front by Donald Horton. And a look at just how inept this offense has been for Arizona State. They rank 113th in rush yardage. They should just leave the defense on the field. They've scored a touchdown in 4 consecutive games. Mike Thomas back to accept this punt.
Well, here's another area Arizona State struggled. Net punt. They're 81st in the country, and a dynamic returner back there in Thomas.
That's Thomas Weber with a nice high spiral. Mike Thomas has to backpedal all the way to the 27-yard line. Thomas going in the wrong direction, brought down at the 24. And a late flag on the play. A couple of late flags. They're still throwing flags. It was a 53-yard punt and -4 on the return by Mike Thomas. Remember last year in this rivalry game, the Territorial Cup, there were several personal fouls called in the contest. And it was interesting to note that prior to the game, there was a lot of official presence right near the logo, right near that A at midfield. Well, there was no incident.
Mark, it's hard to imagine a game, one team 6-5,
there
the
are 2
other
fouls
5 and 6.
on the play. Both fouls on the offense. Holding, number 9 on the offense. After the play, dead ball, personal foul, number 19 of the kicking team. Both penalties will be enforced. We will first enforce the 5-yard penalty, 10-yard holding, and then the 15-yard personal foul.
Get your calculators out. Something
I know this. It's bad for Arizona State, whatever that calculation is.
Coaches might want to talk to their players about that stuff.
What would you do if I sang?
Is presented by Hampton Hotels. At Hampton, we love having you here. And in part by Dial for Men 3D Odor Defense Body Wash. Protection from Manscaped.
Welcome back, everyone, to Tucson, Arizona, nestled in amongst the rugged shoulders of the Catalina Mountain Range and under the lights at Arizona Stadium. Now a little bit of business to take care of. During the break, our official reversed the call. He called both penalties against the Wildcats. Thus, you see the ball placed at about the 10-yard line of Arizona, 1st down and 10.
You talk about change in field position. Arizona State punted that football from their own 19-yard line, and the Wildcats take over on their 9-yard line. Now that's change in field position on one punt.
Tuitama hands it off. This is Grigsby. Grigsby has started all 12 games this season for the Wildcats. Top rusher on the team with almost 1,000 yards coming in, 952 coming into tonight. He's all Pac-10, all freshman a season ago.
talk about this Arizona team running the football. Last 2 games, they've only thrown it 15 times against Washington State and 22 against Oregon State. 2 of the last 3 games. So they are a running football team right now.
An Oklahoma red zone alert as Oklahoma takes on Missouri in the Big 12 championship tonight. Tuitama hands it off. Grigsby makes a nice cut, ends up about 1.5 yards short of the first down. 3rd down coming up. Luis Vazquez making the stop for Arizona State. There's a look at Vazquez, who really gained a lot of equity in the team, especially the defense, organizing a lot of summer drills, and has been one of the real shining lights defensively for Arizona State this year.
I'll tell you a shining light. This defense scored 4 times against UCLA last week. 3 interceptions and a fumble return. That ties the all-time record in college football. Broke the Arizona State record, but 4 scores on defense.
3rd down and 1. Tuitama, a little play fake. And trying to run for the first down. Going to be stopped up short by number 50, Lawrence Guy. That 6'5" redshirt freshman making a nice stop. I'm Mark Jones along with Bob Davie. Arizona State taking on Arizona for the 82nd time here from Arizona Stadium. On the line tonight, a win for the Sun Devils. They would become bowl eligible with their 6th win of the season, improving to 6-6. Arizona is already bowl eligible at 6-5 on the season, but this game means so much to so many. And Arizona does not want to lose to its cross-state rivals from 100 miles away and go into their bowl season on a downer. Pryor with the punt. And a fair catch called at the 40-yard line. A 42-yard punt, nothing on the return. Rudy Carpenter going to be back on the field for his 2nd offensive series when we come back.
Cavs.
Sunday at 11 a.m. Chris Berman and the crew host Sunday NFL Countdown presented by IBM. This week, catch a profile of Plaxico Burress. Who is he and how did he end up in a New York nightclub with a gun? Then at 7, Chris Berman and John Saunders deliver the day's highlights and scores during Sports Center. Sunday NFL Countdown presented by IBM and Sports Center presented by Bud Light on ESPN Sunday. 1st down and 10 for Arizona State. And Bob, you were talking during the break that a great change in field position for the Sun Devils as Carpenter completes the pass and Herring got rocked. Corey Hall nailed Kyle Williams.
Yeah, Corey Hall, another guy from DeSoto, Texas, kind of a nickel linebacker. Kerry Taylor didn't get a block on him right there. We're going to get a penalty flag right here. Did they call unsportsmanlike on the hit?
Well, they called an unsportsmanlike against the Wildcats. Mike Stoops irate on the sidelines about the call. Gives the Sun Devils a 1st down at the 46 on Arizona's side of midfield. The penalty was against Corey Hall, presumably after making the hit. On the reverse, Carpenter hands it off to Kyle Williams. Undaunted, unrelenting, and after that hit, got right up and made a nice play by him.
Well, let's look at the previous big hit, Corey Hall on Kyle Williams. I saw nothing illegal. Now, his head dropped. You are not allowed to make contact with the top of your helmet. That could have been that penalty. In other words, they do it to protect really the defensive player. It sounds funny, but you are not allowed to drop your headgear down and hit with the top of your helmet.
Here's Mike Jones. And Michael Jones brought down after a gain of about 4 by Brandon Hundley. Mike Jones, the leading receiver for the Sun Devils. One more look at that hit and what exactly went down.
You have to have your eyes up and your face mask up. Yeah, Mark, he dropped that helmet down and made contact with the top, not the front of that headgear. And I know that's hard to understand, and it's hard to make that call right there. I can understand why Mike Stoops went ballistic over there on that sidelines.
Makes it 2nd down and 6 after the Jones reception. Carpenter incomplete, intended for Jones once again, and Jones usually a very sure-handed receiver. In fact, sure-handed in different sports. Played center field on Arizona State's baseball team, which has a great NCAA championship history. Is a draft pick with the New York Yankees in their farm system, but says Bobby got tired of riding the buses between minor league games during the summer. Thinks his future is professional football now.
Yeah, as a center fielder, but you know, he's dropped some balls, but the biggest problem he's had back spasms and back problems all year.
3rd down and 6 coming up for Arizona State. Playing for bowl eligibility. Looking for their 6th win of the season.
Arizona State.
And the Sun Devils are going to talk it over on the sidelines. The controversial Carpenter. Here's why.
And let's clean this up once and for all. They did not call him right there for dropping that helmet. They actually called him right there at the end. They said because those arms were out.
Don't have too much fun now.
That was an unsportsmanlike penalty on Corey Hall for those arms being extended. Wow.
Trying to legislate emotion out of the game. 3rd down and 6 coming up. Carpenter couldn't squeeze the trigger and is sacked back at the 38-yard line on the play by Brooks Reed, who leads the team now with 6 sacks on the season.
Yeah, sacks just continue to be a major problem for Arizona State. 55 sacks they gave up last year, Mark, worst in the country. This year they've given up now 32 sacks, which is 109. Earl Mitchell, Brooks Reed, they just cannot protect Rudy Carpenter.
That's Arizona's 20th sack of the season, and Reed distinguished by those golden locks flowing out of the back of his helmet. Here's Weber with the punt. It's going to bounce out of bounds. A great punt by Weber at the 3-yard line, and there's a flag down on the play at the 17 after the 35-yard punt. We have seen a lot of linen thrown down on the field here in the first quarter.
Boy, and a great opportunity for Arizona State offensively to generate some points. You know, Arizona State with so many problems on offense, but Mark, the biggest single problem is that offensive line for the Sun Devils.
Dead ball, personal foul. Number 25 of the receiving team. Penalty will be enforced half the distance from the spot where the play ended. 1st down.
Reese Davis, a big day for the Stoops brothers, right? Back to you.
It is indeed on ABC right now. Oklahoma and Missouri. Oklahoma kicked a field goal to go up 3-0 on their first drive. Pinkel's team drove down, and Jeff Wolford just missed a 48-yard field goal attempt. So Oklahoma holding on to a 3-0 lead. On ESPN2 and Pat White's final home game, West Virginia on top of South Florida 7-0. White has a touchdown pass.
Is that snow on that field back there in Morgantown? You see why Rob Gronkowski came out to the desert from Pittsburgh?
It is a lot warmer here. Nice, cool, but still warm night. Cooling down a little bit. And speaking of Gronkowski, that's Rob Gronkowski, brought down by Travis Gafel on the play. Gronkowski picked up 4 on the play. Leads the team with 9 touchdown catches on the season. And in speaking with Mike Thomas, we asked him about the difference between the 2 Gronkowski brothers. He said that Chris, number 37, is a little bit more quiet and laid back. He says, Rob, when he gets in that end zone, he'll do a little semi-dance and lay down the funk a little bit.
He calls him Big Country. So I don't think he's laying down the funk based on that Big Country nickname, but I know what you mean by that.
You got that crossover appeal. 2nd down and 6. Run between the tackles. That's Nick Grigsby staying on his feet and plowing ahead for the 1st down for the Wildcats.
Yeah, Nick Grigsby started last year as a freshman. He's had 4 100-yard games this year, Mark, but he's been in the doghouse a little bit. Mike Stoops' doghouse because of ball security issues. All they talk about with him is hold it high and tight. Don't turn it over.
When you look at their top two tailbacks, Bob, Grigsby and Antolin, you're looking at a sophomore and a freshman, those young guys with a lot of responsibility. 8-yard pickup on the play, first down and 10 for the Wildcats. Tuitama on the out and up. And nowhere to go. Good coverage in the secondary by the Wildcats. Terrell Carr was all over Terrell Turner.
You know, Mark, you talk about this game. You know, people around the country may look at a 6-5 team, Arizona, playing a 5-6 team, Arizona State. But this is a huge game. I mean, you look at Mike Stoops right there. He realizes they have lost the last 2 weeks to Oregon and Oregon State. Really gave the game away to Oregon State. So even though they're going to a bowl game, you do not want to limp into that bowl game at 6-6 if you're Mike Stoops.
Second down and 10 now for the Wildcats. Tuitama hands it off. Nice cut by Grigsby. Still on his feet. Nick Grigsby finally brought down at about the 42 by Troy Nolan. And that ignites the crowd. A 30-yard gain by Grigsby.
Well, this is an excellent effort right here by Nick Grigsby. You're going to see some missed tackles right here by Arizona State. And look at him switch the ball, Mark, to the outside arm away from defenders. I promise you, ball security is on his mind every second.
5 rushes for 48 yards, and Viola Antolin now in for him as Grigsby gets a breather. First and 10 from the 44 for the Wildcats. Tuitama under some heat. And threw behind his intended receiver on the play. It'll be second down and 10 coming up. And, you know, Coach Stoops telling us earlier, Bob, in our meetings yesterday that he feels the difference between last year and this year is that the team chemistry and leadership was a lot better. And he goes back to the 4 days that they spent on one of the Army bases, Fort Huachuca. And they did a lot of maneuvers, leadership maneuvers, spoke to some 4-star generals, and the guys were really inspired. And they plan on doing that again next year.
Yeah, but the bad news for the players, they're going to go longer next year.
Waking up at 5:30 in the morning. Here's Grigsby waking up that Sun Devil defense close to another first down. Described as a bit of a loose personality. Certainly lively on the play here.
Well, they are gashing Arizona State a little bit right now out of the one-back set. A little bit surprising because this Arizona defense, rush defense, has been pretty strong all season now.
Grigsby going over 1,000 yards, Bob, on that rush. 1,010 now in the season. First down and 10 for the Wildcats. Tuitama gets plenty of time and has his man open. That's Grigsby again. Nice open field tackle at the 35-yard line by Gaethel. But an 11-yard pickup by Arizona. Bob, you can feel this Wildcat offense gaining a little bit of rhythm and momentum.
You know, the other thing you feel is just the confidence in Nick Grigsby. And I'm sure the confidence the coaching staff has in Nick Grigsby.
Antolin in the ball game. He's the deep back out of the eye. Antolin stopped up after a gain of about 1 as we go check in with Reese Davis for this Sports Center right now. Reese?
All right, Jones, the action, both football and basketball. Number 1, Alabama falls to Florida in the SEC championship game. It appears for all the world as if Tim Tebow will lead the Gators into the national championship game carrying the Gator banner. And number 4, Duke, falls at the hands of Michigan on the road. The Blue Devils had already beaten the Wolverines earlier this season. Sports Center after the game. Stay current with ESPN News.
All right, Reese, and Grigsby was shaken up a moment ago. Still not back in the game. Little receiver screen complete. That's Turner. And Turner finally brought down at the 10-yard line, but there's a flag back at the 12. Terrell Turner, one of the team's leading receivers with 37 catches coming in. But will this stand?
Yeah, Arizona loves those little wide receiver screens. And that's one thing Sonny Dykes brought with him from Texas Tech and Mike Leach. See, Mike Stoops is wanting that horse collar, but I don't think he's going to get that call now.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding, offense number 85. Personal foul, horse collar tackle on the defense. Offset, replay the down.
Wow. That's a win for Arizona State right there now. Yeah. Offsetting penalties, play it over. Well, he did get the horse collar. Yeah. Mike, good news, bad news scenario. He also got the hold. Here's the horse collar right here. This is a new rule this year in college football. Troy Nolan bringing down Terrell Turner. But, you know, the NFL's had that rule for years, Mark.
You like it?
I like it because, once again, it's a safety issue. Huge advantage right there for the Sun Devils.
Yeah, sure was. And moves the ball back to the 35-yard line. 2nd down and 11. We have yet to hear from Mike Thomas, the team's leading receiver, in a big way yet. Tuitama backside pressure and sacked. Back at the 46-yard line by Dexter Davis, who atones for that earlier offsides penalty with the sack. His 11th of the season, and he beat a pretty good tackle on the play.
Yeah, Evan Britton right here. A lot of people saying that maybe the best offensive tackle in the country. Dexter Davis marked just on the speed rush and comes in and tries to strip that football. But Dexter Davis, that's his 11th sack of the season. Best defensive player on this football team. Toss-up between Troy Nolan and Dexter Davis.
2 huge impact guys, and that's going to be a nice matchup, Bob, between Davis and Britton for the rest of the night. Round 1 goes to Davis. Tuitama back to pass. Complete. Gronkowski gets back a lot of yards down to the 23-yard line. Big Country with a big gain of 23 yards.
Yeah, watch Big Country playing out like a wide receiver. Just picks his way through there, beats Morris Wooten. That is a huge conversion right there for Arizona. That is a great throw from Willie Tuitama, too.
Sure was. Willie Tuitama looking for his first victory ever against Arizona State. He's 0 for 3 all time against the Sun Devils. So many careers in this region marked by their relative success against their cross-state rivals. Little toss. And Grigsby, who's back in the ball game, brought down at about the 17-yard line by Mike Nixon.
Well, you take a look at Nick Grigsby. Couple draw plays, has made a catch. You really feel his speed. I mean, he looks right now like the fastest player on this field tonight by far. You see him here catching the football.
And Bob, that kind of underscores, hey, how much has that week off helped Arizona this late in the season?
It looks like it. I mean, Arizona looks like the faster, quicker team. But let's face it, Arizona State's offense hasn't shown up yet. I mean, the only team on the field right now has been Arizona's offense.
2nd down and 3. Tuitama, Gronkowski, touchdown! His 10th touchdown catch of the season gives Arizona a 6-0 lead. Rob Gronkowski.
Big Country is a weapon now at 6'6", 250 pounds.
And that's the 20th touchdown pass of the season for Tuitama. The big fella from Buffalo, New York, warming up in the desert. The 82nd edition of the Territorial Cup, 7-0 when we come back. Boy, that defense has been intransigent for the last 4 weeks, but that's the first touchdown they've given up in the last 11 quarters.
Go back to that big 3rd and 21, excuse me. Willie Tuatama to Gronkowski, and then the play action for the touchdown.
That pass capping a 12-play, 98-yard drive for Arizona. Williams on the return for the Sun Devils. Kyle Williams still on his feet. And Kyle Williams with a nice return out near midfield at the 48-yard line. But Rob Gronkowski having a huge impact, Bob.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier 12 catches against Oregon for 143 yards. Here playing like a wide receiver, and then the play action pass for the touchdown. But let's give Willie Tuatama some credit now. Those throws we saw right there were right on target.
4 catches for 59 yards already.
You know, he has a brother that starts at Maryland. There's 5 boys in the family. His dad owns a bunch of health clubs around the country.
That's Keegan Herring with the run between the tackles. Nice gain of about 6 on the play.
You know, getting back to Gronkowski, they were telling me yesterday he made his official visit out here. He sat in the Zona Zoo where they put all those students. Probably had some of those pretty girls around him when he made that trip from Buffalo out for his visit. That sold him on Arizona right there, Mark.
All you need is a sunny day down here in Tucson, and it is all G-O-O-D.
Sole possession of the NFC South. ESPN Monday Night Football. Buccaneers-Panthers at 8:30.
Welcome back to Tucson, Arizona. Arizona Stadium for the start of the second quarter in the 82nd chapter of the Territorial Cup. Arizona State trying to become bowl eligible with a win. They're 6th of the season. But right now, Arizona leading 7-0 and doing a great job offensively against the Sun Devils. Carpenter hands it off to Keegan Herring, who gets a couple of yards over the right side of that offensive line. I'm Mark Jones along with Bob Davey. Thanks for coming aboard, Bob. It was easy to listen to Dennis Erickson wax poetic about this rivalry. Surprising when he said that this is the most intense rivalry I've ever been involved in. Yeah. You've coached in it.
Yeah, I mean, I've coached in it, and I live out here. And I'm going to tell you a story. Back in 1959, it was Arizona State Teachers College. And they tried to become a university, and they went around the state lobbying, trying to garner support. A group, and Frank Kush was in that group of guys, the president, so on. And right after they would come in, right after they would leave, the Arizona State Teachers Group, a group of UA supporters would come in and say why they shouldn't vote for it to become a university, because Arizona didn't want to share the money. They were the only university in the state. So that's where that rivalry started back in 1959.
Sometimes if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense, huh? But when you look at what's at stake for these two teams, Arizona State trying to go to its 5th consecutive bowl game, how big would that be for the program?
It's huge. But bigger than any bowl game, I can tell you, is this game right here tonight. Now, it so happens there's a bowl game at stake for both teams, but this game is bigger than that game later in December.
Arizona State coming in at 5-6, 4-4 in conference play. Arizona, meanwhile, with its first winning season since 1998 so far at 6-5. And Coach Mike Stoops, Dennis Erickson's counterpart, started off with a couple of 3-8 seasons and still looking for his first winning season in his 5 years here in Tucson.
Well, can this Arizona State offense protect Rudy Carpenter enough? I mean, he spent the last 2 seasons on his back.
3rd and 7, Carpenter fires, complete. And it's a first down at the 23-yard line to Kerry Taylor, who makes the grab to move the chains. A 12-yard pickup. Monday night, the two teams perched atop of the NFC South with identical records of 9-3 battle. Jeff Garcia and the Tampa Bay Bucks take on Steve Smith and the Carolina Panthers. One team will leave the field with the division lead and 3 games to play. Monday Night Football on ESPN, 8:30 Eastern Time. Coverage begins 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS. Ball resting at the 25. Dimitri Nance now in the backfield getting the carry. And Nance falls forward to the 20, gets about 3 on the play. We would be remiss if we didn't mention that Sean DeWitty, who has been bothered by numerous back problems throughout the course of the season at tailback, not playing tonight. He is not scheduled to see any action, and that pretty much, Bob, has been the story for Arizona State offensively. Really disconcerting because of the various injuries.
Yeah, they just can't run the football. You know, they had 21 yards rushing against UCLA, and Dennis Erickson's offense are built around big play off of play action, but you have to be able to run it first.
His pass complete. That's McGahey. Brought down at about the 20, gained 1 yard on the play. Brandon Hundley making a stop for Arizona.
Yeah, it's been a frustrating season for Arizona State. You see right there the first quarter compared to second quarter. But you look at Dennis Erickson. I don't know that he's ever been through a season like this offensively. He knows they're underperforming on offense. And there's no magic this week. It's not like all of a sudden they're just going to get better. I mean, they've got a lot of problems.
3rd down and 5, trying to convert here out of the shotgun. Flag down, and Carpenter, they blew this one dead before the play even started. Mike Jones was out there.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 52, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
That's Garth Gerhardt. You know, this offensive line, Bob, you talked about their struggles. It's made up of largely just a group of guards.
Yeah, I mean, they lost 4 starters from last year. Then they had an offensive tackle leave the program in the spring that would have been a starter. So they really don't have a true offensive tackle. And that's really the basis of the problems for this offense. I mean, they just cannot block anybody.
They've started 9 different offensive linemen throughout the course of the season. 3rd down and 10 after the penalty. Carpenter. The screen is complete, but good read defensively as Dimitri Nance is brought down for no gain on the play. At about the 22-yard line, sets up a 4th down, and in comes Thomas Weber, the place kicker.
And Thomas Weber is an excellent kicker. I mean, last year as a freshman, 24 of 25. This year he struggled just a little bit, but he's still 18 of 24.
Yeah, won the Rose Award last season. This one going to come from about 40 yards out.
They had one blocked against UNLV now.
High snap, but they get it down, and this one is right between the pipes. Arizona State chopping Arizona's lead to just 4 points now here in the second quarter. Back with more right after this.
Introducing Taco Bell's new
Street, Lou Holtzley, Corso, and Mark May as they review all 34 bowl games, the matchups, the winners, the losers. The bowl selection special on ESPN Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time. And Bob, the winner of this game expected to participate in the Pioneer Las Vegas Bowl.
Yeah, you know, interesting, the last 2 years, Arizona needed a win over ASU to go to a bowl game. Lost both of those. Now this year the role has been reversed, where Arizona State needs the win to go to the Pioneer Las Vegas Bowl.
I said it at the top of the show. Rudy Carpenter, the quarterback for Arizona State, said, I love keeping Arizona out of the bowl game. The feeling quite mutual, but of course, as you said, the roles reversed. Good coverage on the kickoff return as Antolin is brought down shy of the 20-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 from about the 17 as we look at the bowl tie-ins for the Pac-10 conference.
Yeah, they have 7 bowl tie-ins. Right now they have 5 eligible teams. Arizona State, if they win, would be 6. So there's going to be 1 bowl left right there that can go take an at-large school that's not in the Pac-10. But isn't it amazing that Arizona State, who had lost 6 straight games, they were 2-6, is still in contention to go to a bowl game.
It's interesting. We asked Coach Erickson, how did the turnaround happen? He said, hey, pretty simple. The schedule got a little easier for us. On the run, this is Mike Thomas, that little fly series. End around. Not much happening offensively on that. Got him. Oh, actually lost a yard on the play.
You know, Arizona State last year 10-3. Dennis Erickson's first year. Came into this season picked number 2 in the Pac-10, pretty high in the country. I think they were overrated. I mean, if you look closer at it, I mean, they had 24 seniors on that team last year. They had a great schedule last year. 8 home games, first 5 games at home. A little bit overrated coming into the season. I mean, this is a young, pretty much a rebuilding Arizona State football team.
Second down and 11. Quick cut by Grigsby as he received the handoff from Tuitama. Nowhere to go, though. Stopped up at the 19-yard line. Got about a yard on the play.
Mark, you know, I say it's a young Arizona State rebuilding team. I think that's why it's such a big game for Mike Stoops. You know, they are 6-5. They are bowl eligible, but they've squandered away some great opportunities. You know, they lost to New Mexico. They lost to Oregon State that didn't have their quarterback or their tailback. So they've had some great. They lost to Stanford early in the season. So 6-5, but it could end on a disappointing note, obviously, if they don't win this football game.
Looking for his first winning season in his 5 years. That pass complete underneath. LaShawn Dean, who's been one of the real pleasant surprises of the season for the Wildcats offensively. A major turnaround for him personally. Picks up 11 on the catch and a first down for Arizona. Well, here's tonight's Aflac trivia question. The battle for the Territorial Cup began in 1899. At the time, there were 45 U.S. states. Can you name the last 5 states to join the Union? Well, that's a history lesson. I'm going to have to text my wife, Sarah, and ask her that one. She got that. She's history major.
I know Sarah would have to help you on that. Sarah with the law degree, too, so that's probably a good person to call.
That was a Grigsby. No gain on the play.
We have deviated beyond the X and O's. When we dig into the history.
It's just the vast expanse of college football. It affords us so many great opportunities to talk about other things.
Let's get back to football.
All right. I was just going to bring up the Frantangelo tailgate party. Your wife Joanne and the rest of the families here at the game.
Exactly.
Kyle on the sidelines, deep snapper for Arizona State. Really hit his last 4 up in the air and incomplete. Intended for Gronkowski.
Talked about this Arizona State defense, scored touchdowns in the last 4 games, 7 scores in the last 4 games. I thought this was another one coming right here. The ball just ricocheted out of there. Travis Gaitho again knocking that football out.
That sets up a 3rd down and 10 now for the Wildcats. Little receiver screen. That pass incomplete. Intended for Delshawn Dean. And 4th down coming up for the Wildcats.
You can tell Arizona. I mean, their passing game is Rob Gronkowski down the field, but all the wide receivers, Mark, on those little jailbreak type underneath screens. And one thing I'll say early in this game, Arizona looks like the faster team, but Arizona State is hanging right in there.
Here comes the 3rd punt of the night, Bob, for Keenan Cryer. And he might have kneeled down when he got that snap.
Right. That football is dead right there.
And that's going to be Arizona State football at the 19-yard line. You talk about a cataclysm on the field there. Wow, what a turnaround.
Well, let's take a look at it. Yes, he had possession of the football and the knee went down.
That is room service for the Sun Devils. They get the ball at the 19-yard line of the Wildcats.
Kicker's knee was on the ground when he had possession of the ball. Therefore, the ball is dead at that spot.
Strange things happen in this rivalry.
When a major hospital wanted to add on to their...
Caught. Incomplete now. McGahey couldn't squeeze it.
Yeah, Nate Ness
ripped off at the last minute. Ripped away.
You're right, Mark. I mean, that was a great play by Nate Ness and Cam Nelson coming in there. And I thought McGahey was going to have another spectacular catch like he had last year in this game. Let's take a look at it. The ball's thrown slightly behind him.
Ooh. Did he have it long enough for a touchdown, Bob? That might be a question here.
And Mark, they'll have plenty of time to review it. My first reaction is he did not have that football long enough. But what a great effort.
Cam Nelson ripped it away for the Wildcats, and boy, Chris McGahey, who struggled right there all year with injuries, had surgery back in June and had a pin inserted into his big toe. He had been suffering from turf toe for most of the time prior to that surgery and has been slowed by it for most of the year. Keeping Herring in at tailback, and they're going to review this one, and at the very worst for Arizona, it'll be ruled an Arizona State touchdown.
And you talk about how tough coaching is. Imagine Mike Stoops when Keenan Cryer, the punter, on a low snap drops to his knee and gives Arizona State this field position.
Is this a catch or not? Is it a touchdown or not?
Wow.
We'll find out on the other side.
When a major hospital wanted to add
Ask about it at work. And Citi, whatever your story is, your Citi card can help you write it, because Citi never sleeps.
A sold-out Arizona Stadium for the 82nd chapter of the Territorial Cup between the Wildcats and the Sun Devils. Here's a look at that last play under review. McGahey was ruled incomplete.
And I think you have to keep in mind, I mean, we're looking at that in slow motion. I think that was an excellent call right there. I don't think he had complete control of that football.
Well, just inside the 20. Second down and 10 for Carpenter. Sidearms it complete. Herring. Keegan Herring with a nice run after the catch. Got a good block on the edge from Kyle Williams on the play, and it's a first down for the Sun Devils, a pickup of 12.
You have to love Rudy now. I mean, this guy runs for his life back there, and there you see the gunslinger. I mean, he's got a little Brett Favre in the way he creates plays. Remember last year he flipped a forward lateral type touchdown pass in this game. But, I mean, you talk about taking a beating over the last several years. I've got a lot of respect for this kid's toughness right here.
A fiery, combustible type of attitude and temper that sometimes gets the best of him. But it also is what makes him good. Herring runs it over the right side, gets down to about the 5-yard line, picks up 2 on the play. And back to Carpenter, it was interesting that, you know, he says that I think I've done some good things at Arizona State. I think that I've won a lot of ball games. And he also has a chance to go 4-0 against Arizona, but the Sun Devil Nation with mixed feelings towards him.
Well, it's like if you're the head coach or the quarterback. But I think what hurt him a little bit in the big picture, he burst on the scene so quickly as a freshman. I think #1 quarterback rating in the country as a freshman. So he had those tremendously high expectations. Then he had the Sam Keller controversy a little bit later in his career.
Little counter. This is Herring between the tackles. Plowing forward down to about the 2.5-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and goal coming up for Arizona State. And it was interesting. It was reported in one of the local newspapers about Carpenter that he was at a high school girls basketball game a couple of days ago up in Tempe watching his girlfriend's sister play. And he, along with a group of others, were working over the official a little bit too vociferously and were subsequently ejected from the game.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems to find the spotlight somehow.
Well, put it this way, they're going to know who he is anywhere he goes.
Gotta like your quarterbacks a little bit feisty. Dimitri Nance in a tailback. Carpenter. Touchdown, Sun Devils. He thread the needle on that pass. Rudy Carpenter pulled the trigger to his tight end, Sean Pettis.
Yeah, they came in motion, ended up in a little bunch formation, and Andrew Pettis, the senior tight end, gets the touchdown pass. And Mark, let's go back to how this drive started right here. And this will be under review as well. Let's take a look at it. I don't think the question is, did he catch it? It's where should the ball be spotted?
I don't think this angle is going to tell us quite as definitively. But there must be indisputable evidence to reverse the call on the field. Looked like his feet were on the chalk at least.
It looked to me like his feet were in the end zone, but the key is, where is the football when the knee goes down? Not where his... I think right there, I think that's going to be a touchdown. But it's not where the feet are. It's where the football is.
The ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
You know, they asked Rudy Carpenter earlier this week, the media did, about playing in a bowl game in consecutive years. What does it mean to him? And while everyone waited with bated breath for a great eloquent answer, his answer was, hey, we get another check to pay our rent in January. A little bit casual. I'm sure it means a lot more to him, although he didn't express it that way. And for Carpenter, that was his 16th touchdown pass of the season and the 81st of his career.
Well, Arizona State's offense hasn't had many reasons to celebrate this year, but take a look at the reaction by Rudy Carpenter and then his coach, Dennis Erickson. Those points have been hard to come by.
The Heisman.
At Arizona Stadium in Tucson, the Sun Devils with the lead, and here's tonight's answer to the Aflac Trivia question. The battle for the Territorial Cup beginning in 1899. At the time, just 45 U.S. states. Can you name the last 5? Oklahoma, New Mexico, Arizona, Alaska, and Hawaii. I'll give myself maybe 3 out of the 5. Generously so. On the kickoff return, this is Antolin at about the 3, fumbles it. And Antolin is going to be stopped up at about the 17-yard line. Let's go back to Reese Davis in the studio. Reese.
All right, Mark, Taco Bell studio update right now. We'll make a run for the Big 12 championship game, Missouri and Oklahoma. Chris Brown going in to give the Sooners a 10-0 lead. But Chase Daniel leads his team right back down the field on a 3rd and 7. Jeremy Macklin goes in. Sooners just scored as I'm speaking. Joaquin Iglesias catching a touchdown pass, extra point pending.
All right, Reese, 1st down and 10, and Arizona with a nice play here to Mike Thomas. Out near the 1st down marker, gain of about 9 on the play.
You see that Oklahoma score. Can you imagine Mike Stoops', Bob Stoops, and Mark Stoops' mom back in Youngstown, Ohio, who went over to their sister's house to watch this game? And you have both Stoops brothers on television tonight.
Yeah.
Is that something?
D. Stoops, mom watching back in Youngstown, Ohio. A real family flavor to the events tonight. On the run, that's Grigsby getting back to the line of scrimmage. Now you talk about the Stoops family affair. You have the Erickson family as well involved on the field with Dennis, the head coach, and his son on the coaching staff as well. Mark Stoops, the defensive coordinator, as well involved. And, of course, mentioned a little bit earlier, Bob Davie, a little flavor here in this game. Clay, his son, the deep snapper. Audra,
for the Sun
daughter,
Devils,
yeah, for the Sun Devils. Audra, a law student at Arizona State. She's going to do some litigating for you.
I'm about ready to get her off a full scholarship. That's been a long time.
The pass complete. Out at the 36-yard line. Mike Thomas picks up 8 on the play.
But it really is remarkable. You talk about the Stoops family. You know, their dad, a long-time high school football coach in Youngstown, passed away when Mark Stoops was actually at Iowa. but just tremendous success and tremendous intensity. I mean, Mike Stoops is one of the most intense. There's Mark, his younger brother, who's the defensive coordinator. They all sound the same. If you closed your eyes, Bob, Mike, and Mark have the exact same voice and phrasing.
It's one guy just chopped up into a bunch of different pieces, and I mean that in a flattering way. Grigsby stopped up immediately by Luis Vazquez. Well, that last touchdown by the Sun Devils set up by this error by the punter, Keenan Cryer. He kneeled, and it led to the touchdown pass by Carpenter to Pettis. And Dennis Erickson's crew with the lead right now, 10-7, 3:46 to go in the first half.
Yeah, and Arizona State's field goal set up by a 46-yard kickoff return by Kyle Williams, Arizona State's longest return of the year.
Tuitama wide open and dropped by Grigsby.
Wow.
Reese Davis never drops him, do you, Reese? Back to you.
Try to be sure-handed, Mark, as often as I can. I told you a moment ago when we were doing an earlier cut-in, Joaquin Iglesias scored for Oklahoma. Here's how he did it. Sooners 10-7 lead. Look, Sam Bradford buy a little time and find Iglesias 17-7, the Big 12 championship game.
Touchdown catch of the season.
All right, Reese back here. 3rd down and 11 for Arizona. The trips left formation. See 3 receivers out to the top of your screen. Tuitama comes the other way and overshoots a wide open Rob Gronkowski.
Telling you, Mark, the pressure starting to mount on Arizona. If we let this roll, you talk about the little things. Watch right here, Grigsby. I mean, I'm talking about if he catches that football, there is all kind of real estate. This was on the 2nd down. On the 3rd down, Willie overthrows a wide open Gronkowski, and you look at that little smirk right there on Mike Stoops' face. Pressure starting to mount on Arizona in this game. A lot of little mistakes now.
They haven't beaten Arizona State in 3 consecutive tries. Cryer gets off a booming punt. That drives Simpson all the way back to the 10. Actually, Williams, check that. Williams is brought down at the 18-yard line. A 55-yard punt.
55.
When this shoe store added Aflac to its employee benefit.
A college football package. It's a real picture of enthusiasm and vitality. 1st down and 10 for Arizona State, coming back the other way. The handoff to Keegan Herring, who got about 3 on the play. And folks, help us beat cancer. To donate to the V Foundation for Cancer Research, call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V or log on to www.jimmyv.org. 100% of the donations awarded to cancer research.
Mark, you can tell what kind of person Jimmy Valvano was. In my opinion, I never met him. I've heard you talk about him. But just the passion in which the people that knew him attacked that cause for him. I mean, you can tell a lot by just the passion that people have to keep his cause alive.
No doubt. 2nd down and 5. Herring with a yawning hole picks up the 1st down for Arizona State. And just to punctuate the point about the late Jimmy V, we've already raised, the foundation has already raised some $80 million for cancer research. And I don't think there's anybody in this booth and throughout our family and some of our viewers out there watching tonight that hasn't been touched by that insidious disease. And the hope is to one day claim victory over it. 1st down and 10 with 2:17 to go after the 7-yard gain. Dimitri Nance now in a tailback. Carpenter finally sacked back at the 24 by Brooks Reed. Reed kind of got that Fabio look going for him.
Brooks Reed, a young guy from Tucson, but right here, John Hargis, really one of those offensive guards you're talking about, Mark, that really should be playing inside. He just gave too much ground. He was never physical enough. I'm talking about John Hargis. But I know you fell in love with that Brooks Reed look before the game when you saw that long blonde hair hanging down, didn't you?
Well muscled and great athlete. Keegan Herring gained about 4 on the play, and Reed certainly has been an impactful player, and a timeout called by Arizona with 1:23 to go here in the first half of play, and the Wildcats looking to snap a 3-game losing streak against Arizona State. And Bob, when you look at the quality of recruits for the Wildcats, it's really picked up under head coach Mike Stoops during his 4.5 years here.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Mark, I coached out here in 1978 and 79. In fact, Joanne and I were married here. That's 30 years of marriage, so it was a long time ago. But the high school football in the state of Arizona has improved so much. I mean, along with the population boom, also a lot of really good high school coaches. And what's interesting, Arizona with only 1 starter on this team. We just saw the defensive end. Only starter from the state of Arizona. Arizona State with 9 starters from the state of Arizona. So right now, Dennis Erickson a little more priority on in-state players.
How intense was the recruiting battle between the two schools when you were on the coaching staff here?
Not as many players. I mean, not as many players. But what's changed, all those open desert areas, they're now communities in their housing developments and there's high schools. I mean, the population has just exploded out here.
I'm trying to get me a free night at the Davy Ranch sometime in the near future. And there's our guy once again. This time Ronnie Palmer moving in to make the final hit. Palmer, the leading tackler defensively, a 4-year starter for the Wildcats.
Yeah, Ronnie Palmer comes on the blitz right up the A gap, and I mean, they just flat turn him loose. And Keegan Herring, the tailback, had no chance right there. Again, Mark, this offensive line from Arizona State just can't sustain anything because there's no consistency.
Well, it was Palmer earlier that said, hey, Rudy Carpenter definitely talks a lot of noise. And certainly some of Carpenter's comments, present and past, have fired up Palmer and some of his Wildcat teammates. This is a very intense rivalry, Bob, and we spoke to it just a few moments ago that when Arizona State came onto the field earlier tonight, there was an entire section of Wildcat fans chanting some pretty harsh profanities.
They talk about that Zona Zoo, and they've put some restrictions on that Zona Zoo. They put them right behind Arizona's bench, and they give him some great tickets. I mean, you go all over the country, you don't see the student body having these kind of seats now in the stadiums we go to.
Punt bounces in front of Mike Thomas, and Reese Davis always has the best seat in the house. Back to you in the studio.
Yes, because I have all of these great monitors to watch the games on, Jonesy. Coming up on the Pontiac Performance halftime report, it looks as if we're set for the national championship game, a classic in the SEC battle, and Tim Tebow also made a case for Heisman, and Oklahoma's starting to pull away from Missouri a little bit. Talk about Pat White's last game, West Virginia against South Florida, on a snowy Morgantown night. Plenty of highlights. Mark May and Lou Holtz will join me. We'll see you in just a little bit.
All right, thanks a lot, Reese.
Or Florida, Oklahoma, would that be some game?
Pass complete. Number 84, Terrell Turner.
Let me finish up on this Zona Zoo. You know, they cap this at 10,000 students. And they've got something they call the eye in the sky because they used to get a little bit rowdy.
You think?
But, man, they look tired to me right now. I mean, that is a tired-looking Zona Zoo, isn't it?
They might have peaked a little bit too soon.
That
maybe during
been the
warm-up.
problem. I mean, there's no juice at all now.
Second down and 5. They had a lot of vitriol for the Arizona State players when they came out onto the field earlier. Mike Thomas makes the catch for the first down, and this was the scene 2 hours prior to the game. Little time-lapse photography. You see the section filling up very quickly there right around midfield, and it took all of just 15 minutes for the student section
that
there
is a great
to fill
shot,
up.
man. But they put the students, most places, it's the big money donors in those seats, and those students are in the end zone. I give Jim Liven good credit here now. He takes care of that student body.
A little premature movement by the Sun Devils defensively. The pass complete at the 45-yard line. Mike Thomas making the catch, the team's leading receiver.
Yeah, again, Arizona State, the freshman defensive end.
16-yard gain on the play.
James Brooks, 34, jumped off sides. They had a free play right there.
Offside. Defense. Penalty is declined. First down.
Bob, you talked about the big money donors of Arizona and those seats. A lot of those big money donors firmly behind Mike Stoops, the head coach of Arizona. They came out publicly a couple of weeks ago when there was some question as to Stoops' future here. First down and 10 with under a minute to go. Tuitama firing complete. And another first down inside the 34-yard line to Terrell Turner once again. An 11-yard pickup.
They're trying to come to life up there.
Terrell Carr defending on the play. This Arizona team had a week off after suffering back-to-back losses against the two Oregon schools, Oregon and Oregon State. They started off this game with a lot of momentum, but after that kneeling punter, after Keenan Cryer turned it over, leading to the Arizona State touchdown, it's been a different story. Tuitama under duress here and running out of bounds at the 33 with 36 seconds to go. Arizona with one timeout remaining. Jason Bonzio, their place kicker, having a very good year so far. They're right now kind of on the fringes of his field goal range.
Yeah, Willie Tuitama. It'll be interesting, the NFL draft, not only with Rudy Carpenter, but Willie Tuitama. Talented guy, Mark. I mean, he can throw the football now.
NFL prospects a little curious about his ability or lack thereof. A little out and up pattern. Bumping, grinding, and intercepted by Omar Bolden.
And Mark, that's the matchup you talked about right there. Mike Thomas came in that interview room yesterday and told us what?
I'm the one that guys like to line up against.
And Omar Bolden had talked a little bit. And it starts with, again, almost offsides by James Brooks, number 34, just gets back. And now Omar Bolden, just a sophomore out of Southern California, who did a lot of talking this week, goes up and makes the play.
Well, you know, sometimes your mouth writes a check your body can't cash, but Omar cashed it in full that time. His second interception of the season.
Yeah.
And that thwarts the Arizona Wildcat drive. Rudy Carpenter takes a knee, and they're going to go into the locker room with a 10-7 lead at the break under a chorus and a shower of boos.
Wow.
It's
strange first half, huh?
It's not the first time Rudy Carpenter has heard boos raining down on him. The only difference is this time it's from the opposition. But Bolden with the big interception. 10-7 at the break. Arizona State with the lead. Right now we're going to join Reese Davis, Mark, and Lou for the Pontiac halftime report.
The result of this game will vastly alter the perception for both teams and what kind of season they've had. Glad to have you with us. Pontiac Performance halftime report. Reese Davis, Lou Holtz, Mark May. Lou's getting all buttoned up because we know we're getting set to get the national championship game lined up. USC, guys, feel like perhaps they've been overlooked in this regard because of Pac-10's relative lack of strength. Both UCLA and USC wearing the home jerseys. The whole timeout thing, SC charged with one. Neuheisel took one.
I thought that was cool.
I tell you, it looks great. Look how cool this looks. They haven't done it since 1982, Joe McKnight's.
What makes it great is that's been a tradition. They used to do it years ago. It's nice they brought it back.
It's important to some of the older players. Mark Sanchez to Damian Williams. Young players, the current ones, got pretty fired up about it as well. And you see, they come out at halftime and they jump up and down and tell each other what they're going to do. But the Trojans did most of the doing. Mark Sanchez off the scramble, and the Bruins coming there head first. Got a little personal foul penalty. SC first and 10 inside the 20, and he finds Patrick Turner, does Sanchez.
Yeah, terrific job of Patrick Turner using that big body, get in front of the defender, touchdown Bruins. Touchdown.
Margin of victory, not as much as some anticipated. USC wins it 28-7. Big 12 championship game, Oklahoma and Missouri. Sooners got by with the BCS standings to make it into the game. Will they make the most of their opportunity? They have had a key injury already. And the SEC championship clash was a thriller all the way. Tebow made a statement for Heisman. We'll show you how he led his team to victory coming up.
This halftime report is powered by Pontiac, the official
Welcome back to ESPN's College Football Primetime, presented by Hampton Hotels. 10-7 for the Sun Devils as we begin the third quarter of play. Arizona State will receive the kick. Jason Bonzio kicking off for the Wildcats. And he knocks this one deep down to the 2. That's Kyle Williams, who had a nice kickoff return earlier tonight. He put it on the ground. It's loose. Both teams claiming they have it, as per usual. And it looks like the Arizona State Sun Devils recovered the loose ball on the kickoff return. As we get started here, there have been some strange happenings already tonight. This just another one. And Bob, when you look at the statistics of the first half, well, it's not exactly what we're not used to now with Arizona State, because it's not flattering in a number sense, but they're winning on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, last week 122 yards against UCLA. They score over 30 points. First half of this game really dominated by Arizona, statistically 60 points, 60 total yards offense. But you said it, a strange feel to this game. Momentum on the side of Arizona State. I think there's a lot more pressure on the Arizona Wildcats in this football game. So strange night. I think going according to plan for Dennis Erickson, because if you're going to win right now the way they are on offense, you're going to have to win with the so-called ugly kind of win, and that's just what this is right now.
Regan Herring running it between the tackles out near the 25. Ricky Elmore making the stop, a gain of about 1 on the play. Keegan Herring making just his second start of the season. Former state high school champ in the 100 meters and 200 meters back in high school, has been bothered by hamstring injuries all season long.
Yeah, pulled that hamstring on August 26th. Then he re-injured it against Stanford on September 7th. And Mark, you know, those hamstrings, for a guy like Keegan Herring, that kind of athlete, they can last all season.
Second down and 9. Taylor in motion. Quick 3-step drop, and Carpenter a little bit strong, intended for Andrew Pettis. As we take a look at the numbers, it's not a Picasso. It's more like a finger painting, especially for Arizona State. Just 66 total yards.
Well, what it doesn't show for Arizona is the punter with his knee on the ground taking the snap that gives Arizona State their touchdown, and then a 47-yard kickoff return by Kyle Williams for Arizona State that gave Arizona State really their field goal.
A win for the Sun Devils tonight. They become bowl eligible with their 6th win of the season to even their record, and 6-6, and going to a bowl game perhaps for the 5th consecutive season.
And one thing Arizona State did not do was turn the ball over in the first half, Mark.
Carpenter, though, sacked here back at the 18-yard line. Earl Mitchell making the stop.
Well, Earl Mitchell, a guy that was a fullback tight end last year. You see him right there.
Carpenter with nowhere to go that time. And that's the 2nd sack of the season for Mitchell. Sets up a long 4th down. And Thomas Weber, who was one of the MVPs for Arizona State, Bob Franklin, in the first half with his punting, giving them good field position. This one a low line drive. It takes an Arizona State bounce at about the 44-yard line and keeps rolling down to the 40. There's a flag down, though, at the 42. A 42-yard punt and nothing on the return. And it's the same way we started this game, with a lot of flags being thrown.
Obviously, by the look on Mike Stoops' face, it's going to be against Arizona.
During the kick, illegal block in the back. Number 9 of the receiving team. Penalty will be enforced from the end of the kick. First down.
Well, now here's tonight's Good Hands flashback presented by Allstate. 1998, the Holiday Bowl against Nebraska. Arizona playing, and Eric Crouch with a 15-yard touchdown pass there. Brian Brennan with a 15-yard touchdown pass from Kevin Smith. And then right here, Arizona trying to rally. Tracy Winstrom, and then Arizona coming back, and Chris McAllister The pick seals the game as Arizona won it 23-20.
It's been a 9-year drought for bowls for Arizona. But, you know, Mark, this is a much improved program. When you think about Mike Stoops taking over for John Mackovic, where that program was a much improved overall program.
Grigsby, who had a good first half, and another flag thrown on the play as Grigsby goes down at the 35. If it stands, he picks up 5, but as you mentioned, Bob, Arizona trying to go to its first bowl game in about 10 years. And this was a program in disarray and frankly very dysfunctional when John Mackovic left.
Wow. Offense number 84. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul.
Here's a look at the drought. Arizona at 6-5, now bowl eligible, and that ends their drought of 10 years. And we saw Vanderbilt earlier this college football season, Bob, a couple of weeks ago, become bowl eligible.
Well, there's what's similar. Vanderbilt at 6-6, limping into that bowl game. The same thing with Arizona and Mike Stoops. You do not want to be 6-6, having lost your last 3 games of the season and your last 4 to Arizona State. It's a bowl game technically, but it is a negative deal now if you go to the bowl that way.
Doesn't feel like one going in when you've lost that much. Tuitama fires complete at the 28-yard line. Number 18, O'Shawn Dean makes the catch. He picks up 5 on the play. Dean, the team's second leading receiver, coming in with 40 catches for over 400 yards and a couple of touchdowns. He started 5 of the 11 games this year, and coaches really admire the way he's grown up, running nice routes too.
Yeah, they said he has a world of talent. I mean, that is a great catch right there. They say he has matured a lot and changed his attitude.
Second down and 11 for Arizona. Tuitama hands it off. That was Grigsby on the inside handoff, brought down by Morris Wooten. He picked up 2 on the play. Arizona Wildcats defense has been very staunch over the last several weeks.
Yeah, and this guy right here, Morris Wooten, you watch him come down the line, Mark, and deliver a blow. I think he has really helped this defensive football team. He is a physical football player now.
He missed the first 4 games of the season, but since coming back into the lineup, he's brought back with him a lot of speed and explosiveness at that position. Third down and 9 coming up for Arizona.
Yeah, Gronkowski's been a little bit missing in the offense for Arizona.
Tuitama over the middle, and there he is. They found big country with a big conversion, Bob, on third down into Arizona State territory at the 43. He was working against Jarrell Holman. And Gronkowski picks up 25 on the catch.
Yeah, they tried to put Jamal Holman right here. They've got a DB number 8 locked up on this big tight end. Just watch him right here. That is a tough matchup. Mark, this guy's an NFL tight end now.
You said earlier this week, after watching the film, he might be the best tight end in the country.
I think so. Couple key third down catches tonight for him.
Tuitama finds him again. Gronkowski close to another first down at the 33-yard line of the Sun Devils. Picks up about 10 on the play. Already with a touchdown catch, 10 on the season.
We're going to displace him a little bit out in space, and in the play action, he runs away from Travis Gavel, the linebacker.
Pretty light on his feet, Bob. Surprisingly so, huh? Guy his size, 260 pounds.
Yeah, no question about that. I mean, he is a combination tight end, kind of a big Jeremy Shockey kind of tight end.
Interesting comparison. Former University of Miami great. Tuitama looking for a receiver and wisely throws it away. A second down and 10 for Arizona.
This Arizona State defense, to me, looks a little tired. I mean, they're on the field so much in this game. You come off the game last week with UCLA, Mark, they were on the field the entire game. Because when you intercept and score, as they did 4 times, you go back on defense right away. So you've got an offense coming off an open date. I think you have a tired Arizona State defense.
You see the time they've spent on the field. Over 20 minutes Sonny Dykes, the team's offensive coordinator for the Wildcats, trying to press the right button to Utama. A little bit high, incomplete, and a flag thrown on the play. It was intended for Dean.
Yeah, they're going to call Jarrell Holman right there. Never made an effort at all to play the football. And he's just going to unload right here at the end. That's silly. No reason to do that.
Personal foul. Defense. Helmet contact. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Well, we've seen several of those calls tonight. First down for Arizona at the 18-yard line. Grigsby in a tailback. Tries to cut it back. Grigsby stays on his feet after taking a hit and makes it down to the 13-yard line. A pickup of 6 on the play. Last year, Grigsby made Pac-10 All-Freshman. Talked about his problems hanging on to the football a little bit earlier this year, but seems to have solved them here late in the season. Started all 12 games this year for Arizona. And a pretty impressive drive here to open the third quarter for the Wildcats. Single back set again. It's Grigsby. Takes the handoff. Nowhere to go, and now finds a momentary seam and stopped immediately at about the 13. Got a yard on the play.
You know, this Arizona offense, 92% in the red zone, which makes them number 3 in the NCAA. Take a look at Mike Stoops right here. You have to think Rob Gronkowski, you know, down in this red zone. I would keep an eye on that big tight end right there at the top of that screen.
9th play of the drive coming up for the Wildcats. Third down, they need 4. Tuitama comes the other way, complete. And a good open field tackle at about the 7-yard line on Mike Thomas by Troy Nolan, who's been so key this year. And it's enough for the first down.
Well, Mark, this is a tired Arizona State defense right now. And I think Craig Bray, their defensive coordinator, has done one of the most outstanding jobs in the entire country.
Yeah, that's a defense, Bob, that has caused 18 turnovers, 18 in the last 3 games.
Amazing. There you take a look at Craig Bray. Really has simplified things since he's come to Arizona State and has done an outstanding job.
Antolin comes in a tailback for Grigsby, and a lot of motion on the offensive line.
Dead ball. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Mike Stoops a little bit dismayed at the offense's early start there. They're going to move it back a few yards.
You've heard me say this before. You know how some guys are like open-faced sandwiches? You know exactly what you're getting.
Yeah.
There is no hiding your emotions if you're Mike Stoops.
A stark contrast from the father that was tending to his young son in his office when we met with him yesterday.
Exactly. I mean, what you see is what you get. But, man, he looks like he's going to explode half the time over there.
Antolin again between the tackles, brought down to the 10-yard line. Yeah, yesterday he was tending to his young son as the Disney Channel was playing in the background. A little Hannah Montana on, but it's all business for Mike Stoops right now.
Well, those Friday mornings in coaching, that's about the only time you get, because the game plan's in. You have a little bit of time Friday morning, and what happens, you have to be there because you have recruits coming by, you have different things happening. So his wife brings his son in on Friday mornings to spend the mornings with him. But you know you're a little distracted. So, I mean, you can't really call it quality time.
11th play of the drive. Tuitama into the end zone. Touchdown.
Delashawn Dean right here, and he's matched up on Omar Bolden, the corner. man-to-man, and he just goes up and gets the football.
A young man that has really turned around his life off the football field and improved work habits and ethos on the football field. Delashawn Dean, a flag thrown on the play. The extra point good, but will it stand as Dean gives Arizona a lead?
Well, Arizona State with the big personal foul penalty on the drive by Jarrell Holman.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what this call is, Mark.
Meanwhile, for Dean, Bob, that was his 3rd touchdown catch of the season, the 4th of his career.
Dead ball, personal foul. Defense number 50. Kick is good. Penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. Immediate timeout.
Personal foul once again. This is a series rife with a lot of jaw-jacking. The Territorial Cup on the line. Back after this. Welcome back, everyone, to Arizona Stadium, where the Wildcats have taken the lead now after that 11-play, 70-yard drive, using almost 6 minutes on the clock to open the 3rd quarter. The Wildcats making a statement to begin the 2nd half, and they'll kick off from the 45, the result of the personal foul penalty. And Kimbrough will take a knee. We'll get your weekly dose of NFL news and analysis on ESPN Sunday at 11. Chris Berman and the crew on Sunday NFL Countdown, presented by IBM. This week, catch a feature on Plaxico Burress, and we discuss Ben Roethlisberger's pocket presence. Then at 7, Chris Berman and John Saunders deliver the day's highlights and scores on SportsCenter. Sunday NFL Countdown presented by IBM, and SportsCenter presented by Bud Light on ESPN Sunday. First down and 10 for Arizona State from the 20-yard line. Let's see what Rudy Carpenter can script here. The play fake to Herring, going downfield, has a man, and it's caught. Kyle Williams with another big play into Arizona territory at about the 45-yard line. He picked up 33.
Mark, you have to give the offensive line a lot of credit, because you're going to watch Kyle Williams right here. And he's going to run down across this football field off the play action. And this play takes a lot of time to develop. Excellent play call, because it's 1st and 10. They're thinking run. Excellent protection and a good throw by Rudy Carpenter. You give him time, he can make some throws.
And there's a look at Williams, the son of Kenny Williams, the general manager of the Chicago White Sox. Carpenter rolling out downfield. A little bumping going on, and it's incomplete at the 8-yard line. McGahey there looked like sumo wrestling with Brandon Hundley. The two of them wrestling with the ball in the air. This is going to be a very interesting call.
Mark, I think that's going to be pass interference on Hundley. I mean,
pass interference. Defense number 23. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
You know, that is the 8th penalty on Arizona. And, you know, the Cardinal rule, he never looked back to the football at all. But anytime the ball's underthrown, the defensive back is susceptible, because he can't see it, and the receiver comes back and you hold. But that's 8 penalties on Arizona. They only average 3.4 a game.
Wow.
So 8 penalties when you only average 3.4.
Keegan Herring in a tailback. First down and 10 from about the 33 for the Sun Devils. Herring Tough sledding inside, gets to about the 31-yard line, picked up 2 on the play.
But you take a look at Dennis Erickson in this offense. You know, I had a chance to play him when I was at Notre Dame coaching, and we played him in the Fiesta Bowl that everybody keeps talking about. I've never heard a game discussed as much as that game, but play action pass is such a big part of his game. But you have to run it a little bit to be able to throw play action. And it helps having Chad Johnson and Manzada as those 2 wide receivers like he had back in 2001 in that game.
They compare McGahey favorably to Manzada. This is picked off by Hundley, who atones for that earlier error. Hundley
to show you what happens when you've been sacked a lot of times. You get gun shy in the pocket. Watch Rudy Carpenter right here. He has pretty good protection, but look, the football drops down. He's flailing around. He's worried about getting sacked. He throws off his back foot. That is a result of a quarterback who has been beaten up and will not sit in the pocket.
He felt the rush coming, and there was none.
Exactly. Boy.
Second interception, third interception of the year for Hundley, giving the Wildcats good field position at the 34 of Arizona State. Grigsby brought down at the 30. Arizona's defense did a nice job tonight.
This Arizona defense, you know, they had 9 starters graduate off the team from last year. Really a young defense, and I think they've played outstanding all year, and tonight they have played extremely well. And this is the biggest right here. The interception just gift-wrapped to Hundley right there from Rudy Carpenter.
Quick receiver screen. That's complete down to the 22-yard line. Mike Thomas making the grab. Thomas, Arizona's all-time receptions leader, continuing to rewrite the record book. He picks up 7 on that play.
You know, really a good plan right now, if you're Arizona, is just get the ball out in space, because this Arizona State defense is tired, Martin. Just get it out in space and make Arizona State tackle you in the open field.
Arizona State defense coming into tonight hadn't given up a touchdown in over 10 quarters. Quick receiver screen again, and a nice block on the edge, and another first down by Mike Thomas. Thomas accepting the challenge tonight. And a look at his impressive numbers. Number 1 career-wise in receptions, 3rd in yards. He could become the leader before the season's over, and 4th in touchdown receptions. That's his 8th catch, by the way, of the day.
Well, that's a great call, because just as I said, this is a tired defense. Now Arizona State lining up and playing man-to-man. Don't be surprised, play action right here. Willie Tua-Thomas sees the man-to-man coverage now.
Hands it off to Grigsby, cutting it back. Nobody home. Grigsby, Trick Nick scores this touchdown.
You know, Mark, that scores on Rudy Carpenter in the Arizona State offense, because this defense is tired. They've been on the field all season, and they're starting to cave in a little bit right now.
The extra point good. The score set up by the Hundley interception right there, and Grigsby put it home.
And when you're tired, you miss tackles, and just count the missed tackles right there.
Allstate, proud sponsors of college football in the 75th Allstate Sugar Bowl. Are you in good hands?
They have the Pioneer Las Vegas Bowl on their minds here in Tucson, Arizona. Winner of this game most likely headed to that bowl game, and Nick Grigsby right there doing his part to get them to Las Vegas.
Nick Grigsby's had a good night. Looks quick, looks confident. And the best offense for Arizona State has been Kyle Williams on these kickoff returns.
And that's about it so far, unfortunately, for the Sun Devils. Arizona scored on their last 2 possessions, and the defense coming alive now. And hey, folks, don't forget, join host Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, Lou Holtz, Lee Corso, Mark May, as they review all 34 bowl games, the matchups, the winners, the losers. The bowl selection special on ESPN Sunday night at 8 Eastern time. And that Big 12 championship game turning into a real big blowout championship game right now. And it's 38-7. The Sooners with the lead over the Missouri Tigers. A good night for Bob Stoops, the brother of Mike Stoops here at Arizona. And looks like we're headed towards an Oklahoma-Florida national championship game in Miami. Herring brought down after a gain of about 1 on the play.
Well, it sets up for that Oklahoma-Florida game for the BCS championship, Mark. That may be as good a game or as good a matchup as you're ever going to see. And what a year by Alabama and Nick Saban. You know, last year we did the Independence Bowl. When they played Colorado, nobody would have ever thought Alabama would be an 11-1 football team this year. So one of the great coaching jobs.
And another 0-gain play as Herring stopped up. And as we looked at those All-State standings review, sitting there with just 1 loss, what's running through the mind of Mac Brown right now, as they didn't get a chance to play in that Big 12 championship game? And they too have a very good argument.
Well, you're exactly
for participating in the national championship game.
But right here, pass protection, Arizona State, because Arizona will be coming right here.
That was Mark Stoops, the head coach's brother you saw pacing the sidelines. He's the defensive coordinator for the Wildcats. And a flag thrown. It looks like Andrew Pettis moved prematurely for the Sun Devils there on the top of the screen.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 88, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
And if you're Arizona State, I go back, a 2-6 football team had lost 6 straight games. Now they've come back because of a good schedule. Washington, Washington State, UCLA. But 3 bye weeks. This is a tired football team, mentally beaten down a little bit. You have to watch you don't cave in right here if you're Arizona State.
A potential bowl berth on the line for Arizona State, trying to stay alive. Carpenter eluding harm's way and incomplete at the 25-yard line. Intended for McGahey and dangerously close to being picked off. Corey Hall was right there.
Yeah, Rudy felt that pressure coming from the backside, stepped up and just launched it into coverage right there. Watch the rush from his blind side. I mean, he feels that rush coming right there from number 35, Sterling Lewis.
Good defense there by Devin Ross as well.
And I tell you, Mark, you got to watch the floodgates don't break open right here if you're Arizona State. I mean, Mike Thomas run this thing back to the house on you.
Thomas Weber, Bob, punting from 5 yards deep in his own end zone. They didn't come after him, but it's a low line drive punt. Thomas watches it bounce over his head, fields it at the 45. Oh, got a great block on the edge. Mike Thomas, Money Mike, Cash Money Mike, touchdown.
I've seen it a bunch of times in all my years in college football, and you knew that dam was about to break for Arizona State, and it just broke right there.
A torrential downpour of points for the Wildcats, and it is all Arizona right now after that 52-yard punt return by Mike Thomas.
Offside, defense, number 5. Penalty is declined. Kick is good.
And let's watch. He gets the first block from Orlando Vargas right there, and the second block led by Jerron Kreiner downfield.
ESPN The Weekend starts February 27th. Visit ESPN The
With 21 unanswered points.
There's been a lot of players out of DeSoto, Texas, where Mike Thomas is from now.
Used to recruit that area, right?
Recruited a lot at Texas A&M. Carter High School sits right there, and then DeSoto High School. If you just recruited those 2 high schools, you could have a heck of a football team, man.
Used to own that area, didn't you? The Lord of the Living Room, the legend of Bob Davie in Texas.
There you go.
Right now, it's all about the Wildcats. Surging ahead with 21 unanswered points, trying to snap that 3-game losing streak against the Arizona State Sun Devils. This time, no big kickoff return by Kyle Williams. What a great job of blocking here, Bob.
2 blocks, and you're going to watch the first block, Orlando Vargas, right here. Now watch Orlando. He comes in. That's a great lick right there. The second one by Jerron Kreiner right here, 82. So Mike Thomas is smiling. He deserves all the credit. But how about Orlando Vargas and Jerron Kreiner? There you go, Jerron.
And now the question begs, how does, or if Rudy Carpenter can stop the hemorrhaging here by Arizona State. Completes the pass over the middle. This is Kyle Williams. And Williams out to about the 27-yard line.
And this all started when Rudy got nervous in the pocket on that first interception when Arizona State was really moving the football a little bit here in the second half.
Carpenter, meanwhile, Bob, just 9 of 17, and this on the heels of Arizona State receivers as a group saying coming into this game, we still feel like we might be one of the best groups of receivers in the conference. It hasn't come to fruition so far tonight or this season. They were holding out hope. This is Dimitri Nance running the ball out to about the 32-yard line. Picked up the first down with a 5-yard gain.
You have to wonder, deep down inside now, what's this guy really thinking right here? I mean, sometimes you can play too long, Mark. You know, 4-year starter, all the ups and downs. You can be there too long. Now, one thing I'll promise you, he'll keep fighting and he'll keep flinging that football around. But what is his mindset right now?
Well, the Sun Devil Nation somewhat mixed towards Rudy Carpenter over the years. But, you know, you go back to their game against UNLV. This is a season rife with hope, and this might have been one of the early turning points. Didn't work out for them. It was tied at 10, then tied at 20, and then the Rebels going ahead. Tuamala blocked the field goal to give the Rebels a 23-20 overtime upset win of then number 15 Arizona State. Right now it's 2nd down and 8 for Arizona State. Carpenter just getting away. Slings it complete. Into Arizona territory, the 49, Chris McGahey picks up 18 with a catch.
I tell you, he is a gunslinger now. And you know what? If you had any confidence, if you were Dennis Erickson, what a great time to go no huddle. I mean, you're down 28-10. Pick up the tempo. Let's go right now. You just don't have much confidence that you can't have a self-inflicted mistake offensively, you know, because that's been the past history of this team. I mean, Rudy just looks tired, man. Get up there. Let's go.
1st and 10. Carpenter could be playing the last game of his career. The deep out, and it's incomplete at the 35-yard line. Looking for McGahey once again. Brandon Hundley there to defend for the Wildcats. Mark Stoops' defense doing a nice job for Arizona.
These Stoops brothers now. Whatever their mom fed them back there in Youngstown, Ohio, there was some juice in it.
I got to give me some of that
energy, man.
I got to give me some of that Cardinal Mooney football.
Yeah, it reminds me of what Urban Meyer told me last week. He said, I got to give me one of those Tim Tebow pills. He said Tim Tebow just every day of his life is the most excited guy I've ever been around.
Carpenter slinging it again. No chance that time for Kerry Taylor. That's the end of the third quarter, and Dee Stoops, some 70 years young, back in Ohio, watching her boys do a great job.
The Heisman Trophy.
Sun Devils. Carpenter given time. Completes the pass down to the 44-yard line to Dimitri Nance. Now that is short of the first down. He picked up 7. Well, folks, remember, this is Jimmy V Week, and help us beat cancer. Now, to donate to the V Foundation for cancer, call 1-800-4-JIMMY-V or log on to www.jimmyv.org. Remember, 100% of the donations awarded to cancer research.
This Arizona State offense, 29% on 3rd or 4th down. That's why he's punting this football. He doesn't have any confidence he can make 4 yards on 4th down.
Well, Thomas Weber boots this one, unfortunately, into the end zone. It'll come all the way out to the 20-yard line. So a net of plus 24 on the play. Well, Rudy Carpenter, a monument to frustration right now as we come back on the other side.
Losers plus Duke upset by Go Blue, and I dare you not to watch Steph Curry. Sports Center next.
28-10, the Wildcats leading the Sun Devils with 14:47 to go here in the fourth quarter of play. Arizona trying to snap its 3-game losing streak against the Sun Devils. The Sun Devils trying to get bowl eligible, though, with a win here tonight, but right now facing some very daunting odds, down 18 as we start the fourth quarter.
Yeah, kind of ironic. The last 2 years, Mark, Arizona needed that win over ASU for a bowl game. This year the role's different. Right now it looks like the Wildcats are going to shut the Sun Devils out of that bowl game.
Willie Tuatama hands it off to Grigsby. Grigsby out near the 25-yard line. Got about 4 on the play.
Number 77.
Look at young man Clay Davey on the sidelines. Deep snapper for the Sun Devils.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit too much face time for a guy that hasn't been in the game. But you know what? I mean, a walk-on. I couldn't be more proud of him. And he's a worker now, I'll say that. And just to experience this, you know, he made the travel squad all year. Chance to travel to some great places around the country and just be around Dennis Erickson and the coaches. So great experience.
Great that he really worked at it. And here to see this game tonight. And bank pass complete. LaShawn Dean with the first down.
Well, Omar Bolden, Mark, did a lot of talking this week. He made one play, but Mike Thomas right now has the upper hand. I mean, this is man-to-man coverage. You're going to see it's pretty simple. Omar Bolden, Mike Thomas, great throw by Willie Tuatama. So I always used to say it. When you're a young guy like Omar Bolden, don't write those checks. You can't cash now, right?
Yep, no doubt.
The less said, the better.
Did get that one interception earlier tonight. 1st and 10. Pass complete. Grigsby knocked out of bounds. Let's go back to Reese in the studio.
All right, Mark, Sports Center right now. Florida apparently on its way to the national championship game after beating #1 Alabama 31-20 to win the SEC championship. Tim Tebow carrying the flag for the Gators. They try to win it for the second time in 3 years, and it sure does look like they'll play Oklahoma. The Sooners are clobbering Missouri in the Big 12 championship game on ABC, 41-7. Sports Center after the game. Stay current with ESPN News.
Second down and 9. Thanks a lot, Reese. And Bob, I'm going to get your prediction on a potential Oklahoma-Florida matchup before we kiss the night off. That's Nick Grigsby. Let me ask you right now, then. who do you like in that matchup?
Wow. Maybe the all-time greatest game I've seen now on paper. I think Florida, with the balance of that team, offense, defense, special teams, and Tim Tebow, who I think still should be in that Heisman Trophy consideration now. I mean, he did it all offensively today.
We saw him a couple of weeks ago against Vanderbilt, and he really put up some good numbers for the last pretty much half of the season here. Although the running numbers not quite what they were last year when he won the Heisman Trophy, but it was pretty much by design that Urban Meyer, the Gators head coach, said that he didn't want to run Tim Tebow quite as much this year. Let's take a look at Bob's Day V, the day in college football, and it centers around the Heisman talk. Who do you like? You like Tim Tebow, right? You said that
I'm on that Tebow bandwagon. I mean, I go back to the Ole Miss loss when Tim Tebow steps up and says, we're not going to lose again.
Right.
And nobody in the country is going to play harder than I am. Plus, he's the defending Heisman guy. I mean, nobody has just clearly taken it away from Tim Tebow. And you look at Urban Meyer today, just all the things Tim Tebow did offensively.
And a long field goal good by Bonzio to further increase the Arizona Wildcat lead. Perhaps ending that 3-game losing streak against the Sun Devils. Back after this.
What would you do if I sang out of tune?
Football Primetime is presented by Hampton Hotels. At Hampton, we love having you here.
In front of a raucous sellout crowd here at Arizona Stadium. The Wildcats leading the Sun Devils big time right now as we have 12:34 to go in the fourth quarter. A 21-point lead after that career-long field goal of 49 yards by Bonzio that tied his career long. Williams back for the kick. He's had a couple of nice kickoff returns tonight, and this one another pretty good one out over the 30 near the 35-yard line. Some very notables have attended Arizona here. Bob Dole.
I wouldn't have thought Bob Dole was an Arizona guy now.
Manager of the Boston Red Sox, Terry Franco. Sean Elliott of the Spurs.
Yeah, she's from right here in Tucson. Grew up in Tucson. Blue Bayou, right? That's your famous.
Thought you were talking about me playing defense on somebody. Blue Bayou. And like swords down.
And how about Craig T. Nelson, the coach? And Lorena Ochoa also a U of A.
Some good golf flavor here at Arizona through the years. Carpenter. And one of my favorite actresses, Sandra Bullock, also a grad at Arizona here in Tucson.
I tell you, this is a great. I mean, the University of Arizona. You talk about country club.
That'd be the trick, going to school, going to class.
I promise you that. I promise you that. And you walk out on that mall now, you talk about manicured, picturesque, sun setting over the mountains, a lot of pretty girls on this campus. Of course, I mean, Arizona State's not exactly a bad setting either.
About 100 miles away to the north. Rudy Carpenter. And Carpenter is going to be brought down at about the 37-yard line. Well, Monday night, the two teams perched atop the NFC South with identical 9-3 records battle. Jeff Garcia and Tampa take on Steve Smith in Carolina. One team at the end of the night will have the division lead with 3 games to play. Monday Night Football on ESPN, 8:30 Eastern. Coverage begins 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown delivered by UPS.
It'll be interesting. Monty Kiffin, the defensive coordinator, Tampa Bay. His son Lane gets the Tennessee job. I can see Monty Kiffin doing that, going to Tennessee and playing against those SEC offenses. Will that be fun to watch?
Yeah. Interesting concept. Carpenter gets it out of there and almost picked off at the 40-yard line by Ronnie Palmer.
And I'll tell you something I would do on the next series if I'm Dennis Erickson. I get Danny Sullivan in the game. I'm going to play with the kid that's going to be the quarterback next year. Because I think Rudy Carpenter's just about had enough, Mark.
You don't want to give your senior one last curtain call?
Well, he's getting beat up. I mean, look at him drop the football down. No mechanics. He's waiting to get hit. I think right now you put a wrap on it right now. I can just tell body language. Yeah. It's time to get Danny Sullivan in if you're Dennis Erickson.
Yeah, it's not a curtain call for Rudy Carpenter. It's a trip to the trainer's room. Thomas watches this one bounce. The last time he had an opportunity to punt return, he ran it back 52 yards for one of the deciding plays. Battered, bruised, held together by tape and glue. Rudy, tough night.
46-yard punt.
The Buccaneers.
Tuatama, the quarterback that has never defeated Arizona State, quietly putting together some very impressive numbers. 22 of 33 passing tonight, 256 yards passing, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, Mark,
First down and 10.
You're right. I mean, this kid's been a starter since October 22nd of 2005 for Arizona.
Hands it off here. Grigsby out of the eye. Grigsby gets about 2 yards. And, you know, they look back at the turning point with Tuatama being last year in the Washington game when he played really well and threw for almost, well over 500 yards, leading that offense in a victory. And that really had the light bulb come on after that, Bob.
Yeah, you know, kind of a mellow, low-key guy, not the most confident guy. I think he has a future in the NFL, but it's all about confidence. You know, well, one thing Rudy Carpenter has is confidence. Now, it may be at times false confidence.
Tuatama hands it off to Grigsby again, finding a little seam and getting out near the 24-yard line. Yeah, Tuatama, the last couple of times that he played against Arizona State hadn't worked out too well. Actually, 3 times. Back in 2005, he was knocked out of the game with a rib injury by Arizona State. Then in 2006, the Sun Devils knocked him out of the game with a head injury. Last year, they just beat him.
Exactly. And, you know, he had a concussion, too, early in the season as a sophomore. But a lot of hype early in his career. And a lot of people think he hasn't really reached those expectations that were set so high so early for him.
Gets rid of it quickly here. Completes the pass nicely out to the 33-yard line to Delashon Dean. Well, here's a look at the last meeting between these two teams. Gronkowski with the touchdown catch. And then Carpenter, that little flip pass you were talking about for the touchdown. And then Michael Jones with the touchdown catch. Coach Erickson with the Gatorade shower. Arizona State winning it 20-17. Meanwhile, we have an injured player down at the field. That's Omar Bolden for Arizona State, the cornerback that made an interception earlier tonight. And here's how it happened.
Let's take a look.
Looks like he got hit by his own man on the tackle.
But friendly fire sometimes gets you just as much. But, you know, Omar Bolden, really a talented young player from Southern California, really wanted to go to USC. In fact, had kind of a controversial press conference when he announced his decision, did some deals with some hats and everything, and but he decided to come to Arizona State. You know how the kids set up there at the table.
Oh, it's been pretty much, it's a show. It's a choreographed show now, facilitated many times by ESPN News. Good to see Bolden sit up, being tended to by the training staff at Arizona State. Well, get your weekly dose of NFL news and analysis on ESPN on Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Chris Berman and the crew on Sunday NFL Countdown presented by IBM. They discuss a lot of different things, and then at 7 o'clock, Chris Berman, John Saunders with the highlights and scores on SportsCenter presented by Bud Light.
Plaxico Burress, huh? What a disappointment that is.
Bizarre situation. And of course, the NFL with a very strict and strident personal conduct code, not to be messed with.
Pierre Singfield in the game, replacing Omar Bolden. It looks like he's okay. Got up in his own power.
Meanwhile, Willie Tuatama, Bob, is connected on 10 of his last 12 passes. Hands it off to Grigsby out to the 36-yard line.
You know, you really have to feel good as a former coach for Mike Stoops. I mean, this guy has put his heart and soul into this program. You know, came from Oklahoma, where he was Bob Stoops' defensive coordinator. His brother comes with him as the defensive coordinator here, Mark Stoops. I mean, this guy has put a lot of energy into this program, been very close to getting over the hump. You know, a 6-6 football team last year. If they can get this one, get the bowl game, he's going to get over that hump. Yeah. He'll get some positive momentum going.
8-5 looks pretty good on the resume. On 2nd and 7, Grigsby with a couple of nice cuts. And close to an Arizona first down.
But you really saw, Mark, even in the first half, Arizona looks so much quicker offensively in this game than Arizona State. I really think this is a mentally and physically tired Arizona State team, particularly on defense. I mean, just all season long trying to compensate for that anemic offense. They're beaten down right now.
Grigsby, meanwhile, Bob, shaken up, going to the sidelines. He's run the ball 22 times, gone over 100 yards, has 114 as Keola Antolin comes in for a hit. Game plan pretty simple now offensively for Arizona. Keep it on the ground, gain some yards, and run a little bit of clock. Arizona State with 3 timeouts remaining.
You know, Arizona State next year, Central Michigan, at Iowa, Northern Arizona. So they've done a good job here. You know, Jim Livengood with the schedule. I mean, you look this year, I mean, the non-conference teams they played, they're set up to win, particularly when you look now in the Pac-10 with the struggles at Washington, Washington State, UCLA. Arizona, no reason why you shouldn't be able to go to a bowl game every year here.
Expectations certainly growing, albeit maybe just incrementally. 2nd and 9 coming up. Antolin up the middle, got a couple of yards. Well, coming up next, SportsCenter, Matt Weiner and Scott Van Pelt on duty. Championship Saturday. The Heisman vote debate will heat up a little bit more in earnest. And boy, great fight tonight, Bob. I wonder if I can get back to the hotel and find somewhere to watch that. De La Hoya against Pacquiao. Yeah. Pacquiao moving up in weight. And it's
this guy all
that's
here.
the unknown fan.
Is that what that is?
Goldman fan. I'm not sure what that is. 3rd and 5. That's what it is. Can you see? Tuatama. Pass complete. Down to the 44-yard line. Boy, Dean is having a pretty good night for Arizona. Gets another first down.
You said it earlier. I mean, Willie Tuatama, he is hot right now. And it goes back to the confidence thing. I mean, he's on a roll right now. The outcome of this game in no doubt. I mean, he's just letting it rip right now.
What do you think about his NFL prospects, Bob, based on what we've seen tonight?
Well, I base it on pregame warm-up, just watching him throw and seeing him out there really without his pads on. He's a good-looking, big, strong guy that can throw it now. So from the standpoint of just how he looks, how he throws it, he has a chance now.
There's a look at the resume of Tuatama in tonight's game.
Yeah, and this is the second half. That first was an Arizona drive. The second was after Rudy Carpenter's interception, and the third here was Mike Thomas's punt return. So the anemic Arizona State offense and then didn't cover the punt, set up those scores.
Approaching 5.5 minutes to go. Thomas, nowhere to go, well read defensively. There's number 22, Rodney Cox, makes the stop on the play. That's going to be a loss of a few yards for Arizona. It was nice really meeting with Mike Thomas yesterday in the football offices and seeing his mother come in and poke her head in and say hi to the coaching staff and speak with Mike a little bit. And Mike telling us he had some 20 friends and family members coming in from Texas and Louisiana, some driving as many as 20-odd hours to make it here to Tucson.
Who was his uncle? Uncle Nick or Uncle Larry?
Uncle Larry.
Uncle Larry. Every family has the uncle that's the character, right?
The life of the party.
Yeah,
uncle.
He talked about Uncle Larry, who Uncle Larry thinks he's the life of the party. But yeah, I mean, you're driving from Louisiana and Texas. That shows you a lot about Arizona. The family support.
No doubt.
Your first start time out of the
Mike Thomas had.
Oh, Mike Thomas.
The immediate timeout.
Part of the life of the party for Arizona tonight, and Uncle Larry somewhere with a lampshade on his head right now. Back after this.
At a time when others don't, Nissan delivers. 0% financing on many of Nissan's most popular models.
Against their cross-state rivals from up the interstate.
I'm going to get you to move out here. You're going to leave that South Florida humidity.
You got to make a beach for me out here, man.
No, there's no beach. I can't get that done. You've enjoyed yourself.
Oh, I'm just, the only thing that could cap it off and make it better now would be one extra night at the Davy Ranch up there in the Phoenix Scottsdale area. Tuitama under a little bit of heat gets it away, but firing incomplete. Arizona State not doing well on the field tonight, but certainly great heritage. Now Michaels, one of our own, formerly of ABC. Jimmy Kimmel, late night talk show host.
I'll tell you, Jimmy Kimmel was a few pounds lighter. Barry Bonds is a few pounds heavier. Reggie Jackson. How about this? David Spade.
Bill Mickelson was a little lighter too.
Yeah.
What about Mr. October? My favorite though, Reggie Jackson.
Yeah.
4th down coming up, and that's Kyle Williams, whose father is Kenny Williams, general manager of the Chicago White Sox. And Kyle, a pretty good baseball prospect himself. One point. White Sox just making a trade recently with the Atlanta Braves. Williams watches it bounce. It's going to be down at about the 5-yard line. It's been that type of second half for the Wildcats. And when you look back to when the momentum really swung in their favor, that opening drive of the 3rd quarter to begin the second half really got things going in their favor.
And then Arizona State gets the football back, is moving the ball, and at that time it's only a 14-10 game, and really a bad interception by Rudy Carpenter.
Rudy Carpenter took his team to a bowl game last year. The Sun Devils finished at 10-3 last year, losing only to USC, Oregon, and Texas. But this year, a different story. So many injuries. This pass complete to Michael Jones. Jones gets the first down, but the receivers like Jones were injured. Running backs, DeWitty, Herring, and Nance all battling injuries. Carpenter working behind an offensive line that was a mismatch, really.
You know, and Dennis Erickson said something this week. He said one thing Rudy Carpenter has never done is complain. He has never complained. And you think about all the different things he's experienced in his career. I mean, bottom line, it's been a heck of a career at Arizona State. Now, is he glad it's over? Probably.
You think?
Yeah, are the fans glad it's over? Probably.
Carpenter incomplete. McGahey was the closest receiver. Look at his numbers with respect to the rest of the Pac-10 and touchdown passes.
And interesting.
He's in good company.
Yeah. And John Elway's son is a young quarterback on the team at Arizona State, but there's going to be a lot of competition at that position. Plus, Dennis Erickson has a big 6'8" quarterback that's committed from, I believe, the state of Montana.
Right.
So it's going to be a wide open quarterback race. And, you know, Arizona has the same situation. They lose Willie Tuatama next year as well.
Out of the shotgun on 2nd and 10. Carpenter pulls the trigger. This one complete to Michael Jones. And, you know, Bob, we're actually, no, they say incomplete. You mentioned it, Bob. You look into the eyes of Rudy Carpenter, and the eyes are always the windows to the soul. The one thing you can never accuse Carpenter of doing, as we look at this pass one more time, you can't say that he ever quit. There is a certain feistiness and almost truculence about him that really endears him to his teammates. And with 3:49 to go, you see him and his teammates sharing a couple of smiles.
I thought that ball was incomplete myself. I thought he did not have complete possession before that ball hit the ground. Let's take a look again. Initially, it looks like he has possession, but watch the turf actually end up right there, helping him secure the ball.
More look at Michael Jones. Boy,
that's an incompletion. It was ruled incomplete on the field, correct?
Yeah.
So I think it'll stand.
And we talked a lot tonight, Bob, about Carpenter and about his counterpart, Tuitama. So much talk about the rivalries and the hard feelings between these two schools, but Carpenter even said this week that, you know, hey, I worked with Willie Tuitama at a couple of quarterback camps during the course of the summer, and I was thinking, I'm not sure what to think about this guy, but when I met Willie, it turned out to be a lot of fun to be around, and I guess the two of them spent some good time together.
Is confirmed. Incomplete pass.
But Carpenter wishes he could probably trade places with Tuitama right now.
Well, you have to feel good for Willie. First win against the Arizona State Sun Devils, and enjoy it, man. Here come the fans out of the stands, the Arizona Zoo.
Why wait?
Remember the eyes in the sky now. Yeah. I mean, they can go ahead and put some penalties on you.
It's not going to stop them from going to a bowl game. I don't think they're going to tack on the yardage at the Pioneer Las Vegas Bowl, which is where Arizona is going to be headed after this game. Michael Jones with the reception. Far too little, too late with 3:38 to go in the ball game. Rudy Carpenter will go 3-1 all time against Arizona.
You came into this game wondering, even though Arizona State struggled all year offensively, did they have a little magic left? You know, did Rudy have some magic? Could a Keegan Herring make a big play? Could a Kyle Williams step up and make a play?
There's Rudy still firing away, incomplete at the 42-yard line, intended for Chris McGahey. McGahey is a junior. Mike Jones, a grad student, so McGahey maybe becomes one of their #1 receivers next year. As we take a look at Mike Stoops, his team on the verge of improving to 7-6. There's McGahey, affectionately called White Lightning by his teammates.
Yeah, that Lightning with that toe this year, he's slowed down. I mean, he's playing at about 80%. As is Mike Jones, the other receiver, with those back spasms.
And a flag thrown on the play.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense number 59. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Dennis Erickson will turn this around because he's done it at several different schools, Bob. He did it at the University of Miami, won a national championship there, did a great job at Oregon State, and now on the cusp of really getting Arizona State to where they think they should be.
I think he will. And one of the big concerns when you hire Dennis Erickson, or at least he has that stigma of signing a lot of JC guys, you know, going the quick fix route. Like at Oregon State, I think they had 18 starters that were junior college transfers. But I looked at the 61 signed or committed players Dennis Erickson has brought to Arizona State. There's only 10 junior college players out of 61. So he knows that this will be his last coaching opportunity, I think. I think he'll be at Arizona State a long time. One thing he'll do, he will recruit talented players now.
Well, Interesting that at his first team meeting after accepting the job at Arizona State, with the players all there in the room, he showed the players his 2 national championship rings. And Bob, it was immediate credibility and immediate buy-in factor for Arizona State.
Is it kind of like Charlie Weiss showing those 4 Super Bowl rings at Notre Dame?
That hasn't worked out quite the way he would have envisioned it. Is this intercepted? Great catch by Nate Ness.
I think they ruled him out of bounds.
And there's a flag on the play, too. Arizona looking at a trip to the Pioneer Las Vegas Bowl.
Holding, offense number 67. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
4th down coming up now. Pretty good catch, Bob Davis.
That is a great catch.
I'm not so sure he wasn't in bounds.
He's kind of fighting for possession, though, Mark.
I'm not so sure he wasn't in bounds.
I agree with you. I agree. I mean, they have time to review this now, and they are going to review it at 31-10.
Mike Stoops called for a timeout. Arizona with 2 of them remaining. Arizona State with 3.
Arizona.
They can take a look at this.
This will be a 30-second timeout.
And it wasn't a challenge.
I don't know.
But every play is reviewable.
He's going to let that Arizona zoo behind that bench.
Let the anticipation build a little
more
bit.
Excited. But you know what? I think that was an interception.
Well, the official is blocked out.
Yeah, exactly. Good point. I mean, let's be honest now. In the history of this Arizona State game, I don't think with it 31-10 that this decision is going to make a whole lot of difference.
Good night for the Stoops family. There's Mike with his wife and Bob Stoops. Oklahoma Sooners rolling right now against Missouri.
You can tell that wife likes living out here in Tucson, Arizona, man. It's a good life. And 7-5 and going to that bowl game, it will continue here for Mike Stoops.
His brother Mark as well on staff as the team's defensive coordinator. D. Stoops watching back home in Ohio.
How about that, huh?
Some 70-odd years young. And their father, late father, is watching over them still.
Oh, they missed them. They missed them with the Gatorade splash. That's a sign of a football team that hadn't been to many bowls. It's a 9-year drought in the bowl games, right?
Got to work on it. Here's the play under review as Nate Ness made the interception, but did he come down in bounds? That seems to be what's in question.
Hey, Mark.
Can we let it go?
Let's lose some judgment right here as the Pac-10. Let's move on. Right? I mean, let's make a quick decision here. I'm more intrigued by the missed Gatorade splash, the 9-year drought over there on the sidelines.
They got to work on that one.
Take me through this, Mark.
Well, it came in a little bit wide. You got to tighten that up a little bit.
And that's bad now.
When you get the back of the coach's pants, you got to aim for right between the shoulder blades.
That's what Mike's saying. He said, look, when I was at Oklahoma.
The ruling on the field stands. Incomplete pass, 4th down.
All right.
And now he's just got wet pants.
Yeah. Well, just the right side of the pants. Not even the left. Well, the good news, that wasn't Willie Tuatama that delivered that Gatorade.
They had the distraction part of it.
They whiffed. That's Palmer, the linebacker.
Yeah, Ronnie Palmer. He should, well, that's why he's on defense, you know.
Yeah, they may get him again now. And you know what? Arizona State going for it, and Mike Stoops going to call timeout again now.
And the idea behind that is what, Coach
I don't
Davey?
want Arizona State to make a first down here.
Their third and final timeout of the half. This will be a 30-second timeout.
Mark Stoops, the defensive coordinator and brother of Mike. Coaching him up still.
And it's easy if you're Dennis Erickson on 4th and 6 now to go for it on 4th down. But earlier in the 4th quarter, he didn't do it.
Hey, we talked about Bob Stoops as his Oklahoma Sooners rolling right now, 48-21 in the 4th quarter over Missouri in the Big 12 championship game over on ABC.
How about that sidelines over there of Arizona? Look at all those students lined from goal line to goal line. I mean, they're getting tired of it.
Bob, showing amazing restraint right now.
Yeah, well, I'm telling you, they're going to leave and go party if we don't get this thing done now. I mean, it's kind of lost its...
You mean they haven't started yet?
Look, it's lost its crescendo, hasn't it?
Don't forget, coming up right after the game, Sports Center.
They're going to blitz them, too, right here. Holding now.
Carpenter on the move. Incomplete. A great bounce pass at the 40-yard line. And a flag with 3:02 to go.
Well, the holding will be declined, and I would think Mike Stoops will just run this clock out right now. Because, you know, you do have to play these guys every year, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to do anything that...
Offense number
It wouldn't be the first time.
It wouldn't be the first time.
Penalty is declined. First down.
Well, this one is cooked, glazed, and sliced in Arizona's favor.
And you know what? If you're Mike Stoops, you don't mind this lasting a long time now. If you're Dennis, probably want to get a wrap on this. But for Mike Stoops, this is as good as it gets right here.
Let it marinate a little bit.
You guys. I mean, you can't get enough of this right here as a coach. Look, I mean, this is as good as it gets.
They're going to improve to 5-4 in conference play. Mark Stoops real happy about things too. The defensive coordinator. Arizona going to improve to 7-5 overall. Tuatama hands it off. This is Antolin. You know, Bob, I'm only jealous because you have a short drive home up the Interstate 10, right? I mean, is your wife Joanne and daughter Audra, have they already left, or are they still here?
They may already be on the highway.
No tailgate, no postgame?
That's good to see right there, though. Just the relief. You know, at some point, it almost becomes a relief. And that's one of the downsides of college football. You know, the wins aren't as exciting as they are just a relief at times.
2nd down and 8. Playmaker, they're not going to throw it, are they? Yes, they will. Oh, nice move by Mike Thomas. And those Arizona Wildcat fans pointing in the faces of those Sun Devil players. And, boy, kudos to the Arizona State players showing great restraint with those fans pointing right in their grill that time. And that potentially could be a combustible situation. After that last play, I saw a couple of fans point right at those Arizona State players. And they might want to watch it, you know, because some of those Arizona State defenders might hesitate to putting the brakes on the sidelines. One of those accidentally on purpose deals. Antolin got about 3 yards before being stopped at about the 14. 1:37 to go, and Mike Stoops' team going to be headed to the Pioneer Las Vegas Bowl.
Yeah, he's got the hat on right there. That's the Pioneer Las Vegas Bowl hat, right? Probably going to play BYU up there.
And a chance to go 8-5. That'll look pretty good. Willie Tuatama did a nice job tonight at quarterback. 284 yards passing. He was 25 of 37. Process going to get his first win against Arizona State. Antolin on the handle. They're ready to get their stomp on. They just get Mark Stoops. And one of the coaches. Looked like they missed him too. 3rd down and 6.
Yeah, they got to practice that phase of it.
Mike Stoops in the process is going to get his first ever winning season here at Arizona. Antolin trying to get to the edge and won't be able to turn the corner. Pushed out of bounds at about the 21-yard line.
Guy right there, Anton Kaysen, defensive back, had a great career here now in the NFL.
The fans descend onto the field. Arizona ends the 3-game losing streak against Arizona State with a 31-10 win. Up next, SportsCenter. We'll be over on ESPN News for a recap. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Bob Davey, I'm Mark Jones saying good night from Tucson.
The touchdown machine is underway.
They kind of step on you when they got you down.
This is SportsCenter.
Welcome to semifinal Saturday, sort of. And the winners had very different nights. The high-scoring Sooners showing no mercy against Mizzou. We'll hit every huge game from the season's final big Saturday on campus, including a few actual playoff games. See why LeBron is a huge fan. Items out there. In fact, if you sort of squint, you.
Look at this thing. Ah, he likes them. Here, you can have it. Give it a winner. Wrong side. You can do it tied.
Coach Corso said the Tide could do it in part because Percy Harvin, the electrifying athlete, was out. Who steps up to replace him? Well, Carl Moore hadn't caught a touchdown yet, but here he gets his first touchdown reception of the year, and Florida out in front. Alabama had not trailed much all year, but they didn't trail for long. Ensuing Alabama drive, play-action pass, John Parker Wilson to the electrifying Julio Jones, the true freshman, went over 50 catches on the season in this game. Combination of size, speed, strength, leaping ability that just belies the fact that he's a freshman. That was the longest passing play of the season, and who says Alabama's a grinded-out offense? Who says they can't strike quickly? They come right back with Glenn Coffey. He had a .12 explosive offense for Alabama, makes it 7-7. They actually had 10 points in the first quarter, which was as much as Florida had given up all season in the first quarter. Lee Tippett unavailable to kick. You've got Corey Smith on to kick, and Ahmad Black realizes something might be up. He sniffs it out. They go for the fake here, and it is. P.J. Fitzgerald tackled short of the first down. Florida kicks a field goal on the ensuing drive, knocks things up at 10. Ensuing kickoff, Javier Arenas, one of the most explosive return men in the land. That was ill-advised, though, because Florida has Alabama penned back inside their own 5. Ensuing Florida drive, 3rd and goal. It's Tebow. Touchdown to David Nelson, and Harvin, unable to do anything but be a cheerleader, is cheering his boys on. They lead by 7 to the 3rd quarter. Alabama puts together a magnificent drive. Wilson on 3rd and 7. Julio Jones. Again, keep in mind, kid was playing in high school last year. Think about that. Then it's Wilson. Who else? Jones. 5 grabs, a $124. Later in the drive, 1st and goal. Here's a grinded-out Alabama drive. Mark Ingram, 15 plays, 91 yards. They knot things up at 17 apiece. They kick a field goal on their next drive. They led heading into the 4th. Both Alabama and Florida in uncharted territory. Neither had really trailed much at all this season. Tim Tebow's never engineered a 4th quarter comeback until today. Tebow. Out to Nelson. 1st down to the Alabama 15. Then 3rd and 5. Aaron Hernandez, a kid from Bristol, Connecticut. He made some big grabs throughout, and then everyone's expecting Tebow, the human rhinoceros, to run it in, but he pitches it out to Jeffrey Demps. And then Tebow goes over to Brandon Spikes and says, we gave you the lead, now you hold on to it. Ensuing Alabama drive, 3rd and 8. It's Wilson, and he was pressured throughout. Jermaine Cunningham. Huge play for the Florida defense. Bama's got to punt. Tebow. He realizes he's got single coverage to the outside, and Louis Murphy. Murphy with a big catch for 32 yards. They're inside the 20, and this right here, Tebow's 3rd touchdown pass. All were from 5 yards and in. Bama, the season was great. The margin of victory larger than it really was contested. Urban Meyer's got a hell of a quarterback.
We're awful proud and humbled to represent the Southeastern Conference as a champion, and I think you give credit where credit's due. If that was, that's one of the best college football games I know I've ever been a part of. I think Alabama and Coach Saban and their staff, that was a dogfight. That was a toughness. That was check your will and to come back and play in the fourth quarter, it says a lot about our team.
It's our team's will and our relentlessness and our just attitude and our focus that we don't want to be denied in anything we do. And so I think it was kind of that our off-season mentality of backs against the wall type attitude where let's just take it over here. I think it was just not just myself but everybody had that attitude, especially our offensive line. Had a little chip on their shoulder and we wanted to go in there and get it done.
I love these players. You don't hear me say that too often. I love this football team. I love the way they fight. I love what they're made of. And this will go down as one of the great wins in Florida football history.
Meyer admitted he didn't know all of Florida's history, but said he felt like the fourth quarter specifically and the leadership of Tim Tebow. I know folks feel like it's overstated, but not Urban Meyer. He said that's one of the great fourth quarters you'll ever see in the history of Florida football.
He knows